Hello and welcome to BonkTable. I'm Mass, this is another BonkTable podcast report, and today with me is Reese the Glorious from Parabellum, Vanguard's Garage Gaming, the Grand Pappy of Conquest podcasting, this beaut. Say hi.
Hey man, that was a hell of an intro. Hi everyone. My name is Reese. For anybody who's on the international Discord, you'd see me as GD Reese for game design. But yeah, that's it's probably more of an intro than I was expecting, but that is me.
Well, I've been buttering you up for like the past half hour, so you knew what you're going to get into.
It's true. I was aware of it, but I still wasn't ready for it.
Now I'm glad what GD means, because I've seen that forever, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this means. Like, sure.
Yeah, it's so a lot of the PB team uses just like a short acronym. So like you've got like CM for community manager. So like when I first started Conquest, obviously Leandros was the community manager, so he was CM Leandros. And so when I became part of game design, I just put the GD in front of it because it felt like it made sense.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. So who is Reese? You have a last name. I think it's King.
It is King, yes.
So
who is Reese King?
Yeah.
Reese King is me. I have been playing Conquest the broader spectrum. I've been playing war games for years and years and years.
How many years?
I think, oh god, I would have been 20, so what's that, 15 years? Maybe a little bit more, 16, 17 maybe, if I started when I was roughly, it's somewhere between 18 and 20 I started playing. I started playing with Wyman 40k, obviously.
Ah, there we go. Next, you see, you're speedrunning all my questions.
So I'm from a very small regional town in Western Australia, where I grew up, called Esperance, and in that little town of barely any people, there's not much to do, but I'd always seen like Warhammer growing up, and there was, being a small town, there was nowhere to get it, no one who I knew that played it, so it just sort of was one of those things, you just never do. And then I met a friend of mine who moved from Brisbane, which is where I currently am, from Brisbane to Esperance. And he and his friends played Warhammer, and they brought it all with them. So I was lured in to the world of wargaming through the Space Wolves Omnibus.
Oh, nice.
And so I read... so I read all about Ragnar Blackmane, the greatest Space Wolf there ever was. And that got me hooked. And so, funnily enough, from there I played Tau.
Boo this man. Boo this man.
And that's purely because one of the other guys already had a Space Wolves army. So I didn't want to collect an army that was already sitting there. But yeah, so I've been playing war games for years, and I've been playing Conquest since day one, when I think... So what that would have been what, roughly November 2019, when my local gaming store was like, hey, we've got this new game and it looks cool. And I had a look at it and I was like, this game does look cool. And so I picked up a starter set, and I reached out to Parabellum being like, hey, can I be a Vanguard for this? And I became a Vanguard for this. And so, yeah, I've been a Vanguard and a player of Conquest since day one. I played Nords from the dark days.
Yes, you've spoken of these days where Nords was kind of rough.
The dark days where everything was defense one. There was no evasion.
Oh my God.
So, Raiders and Stalkers are defense one. What else? The Mountain Jotnar was defense one.
What the?
Oh, dude, yeah. Don't. If you can ever find the 1.0 PDFs, have a look, and you'll see how horrifying the Nords were back in the days. And yeah, so but since then I've played every faction, obviously, from at least once. 100 Kingdoms I have 100% success rate on. I played one game, and I won one game, and I've never touched them since. That's a lie, except through playtesting, but I don't really count my playtesting games. So
no, they're playtesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I've been playing Conquest since the day, and yeah, and I've played plenty other war games as well, like War Machine and all sorts as well. So.
What? Okay. What was your favorite war game out of all of them, excluding Conquest? Because you're going to say.
I was going to say it was going to be Conquest because it was like, as we were just talking in the pre-show, I was like, I do love war games, but I do love me some Conquest. I honestly think my favorite was probably. So I started playing War Machine in Mark II, and I think Mark II War Machine was sick.
It was a time to be alive.
It was. So I played Haley 2.
Oh, god damn it! Yeah,
because I loved making friends in air quotes.
There was
but no, I would honestly say like overall, War Machine would probably be my next favorite, purely because like I love like the aesthetic of the game, the way the game plays. I like really rate like that's like that whole system, and like I still play it now like with Mark IV. I think the game is amazing because there was the travesty that was Mark III. And the CID process, but Mark like War Machine would be my next bet. Like after Conquest, like if I couldn't play Conquest and I had to play something else, I would play War Machine.
No, that's a good one. I can't do Mark IV. Everyone knows this. Everyone who's listened to the podcast knows I can't do Mark IV. I can't. Like the movement system killed it for me. That's literally what it was.
See, I love the new movement system, but I also because I played Warcaster when Privateer Press obviously released that.
When they tried to do War Machine 40K.
Yeah, exactly. And I really appreciated reading Mark IV War Machine, where they took the stuff from Warcaster that was good and put it into War Machine. I'm like, nice. I see that you're learning from things, Privateer. So that was really good for me. Like I like the movement system because it's quite fun. Once you sort of get the hang of like the nuance of it, when you first play it, especially if you played like previous editions of War Machine, it is hella weird. But I like having played a bunch of Mark IV now, it's so good.
I would. There's times where I think about playing Mark IV just as like I will drop in once a month and play Mark IV, but I can't be bothered. I've got other things I want to do.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like, yeah, you've got to find the time. It's like, for me, we have a really good community here in Brisbane for War Machine, and so I can throw a dart at a board and hit someone who plays War Machine. So it's really, if I can't get a game of Conquest, I can quite easily get a game of War Machine, which is really good.
No, that's good to hear. Okay, so you joined Conquest. You started playing it in 2019, and did you start with Nords or no?
I started with Nords, yeah. So I had the Spires 100K starter box, obviously,
the big one, right?
Up. Yeah. So they're like $10 for a 2 whole armies box. That deal was insane, and so I had a Spires army. I conveniently sold that Spires army to fund my Nords, purely because one of my mates who had also gotten into the game was like, "Hey, I want to play too," and he's like, "I want to play Dweg because I don't want to play one of the starter factions." And I was like, "Well, I want to play Nords because I love Norse mythology." So my big thing is, this is a out of game thing, just in general, is I love Greek mythology and I love Norse mythology. They've always been a massive focus of mine, like growing up as a kid. Like, love the God of War games.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
even better when they
did you play all of God of War?
It was even better when they put my Greek mythology into the Norse mythology. I was like, this is the best thing ever. So they absolutely nailed that. So yeah, I've loved Greek and Norse mythology, like growing up. Like, it was stuff that I studied when I was at school, stuff that I studied in my spare time, just stuff that I really love. And so yeah, I got into Nords because of that, like Viking, like the Anhyria, the fact that they'd gone through Ragnarok and all that, and with the Jotnar and everything like that. It was super cool. I love the spin that Stavro and Constantino and the writers did with like the lore behind the Nords as a theme. And the fact that it was, like, they've actually done, like, the end time, basically. And I was like, that's awesome that it starts after the end time. Super fun. So yeah, I started with those, but I did play a few games with Spires, and then I conveniently sold them to Monty, who is my co-host and amazing friend who on Vanguard Garage Gaming. And so that was how he got in, is he played Spires to start with. And so yeah, that was the sort of like how everything started and the ball started rolling. Was I kicked up with Nords. One of my other mates kicked up with Dweg. We had a bunch of people locally, especially one of the other Vanguards star, Ado, who absolutely lovely gentleman, played 100K. And so we had one of everything at the start to get the game like up and off the ground, which was really good.
No, it's cool. I'm also glad like your group grew pretty quickly, so you could have consistency of games. Because that's always an issue with like starting a game is playing other people.
100% right. And so like that was the big thing, is we had because Monty lives in the north of Brisbane, Travis, who was my mate who played Dweg, is like West Brisbane. I'm South Brisbane, and Ado was also, he lives near me as well, so he was South Brisbane too. So between the four of us, we were able to like just find all these other people, and we all play different war games, so we had other, like, you know, Age of Sigmar and 40k and all that people were playing too, that we were dragging people from them to play Conquest, and we started having like tournaments within like 3 to 6 months of the game's launch, and then obviously COVID hit, and so it made it hard, but we were still getting games in when we could, after like the shutdowns and everything like that, and then even after COVID, we had just like super consistent, like probably every month we were having a tournament with like 16 to 20 people.
That's good.
Which was super fun. It's dropped off a bit now. We had some issues in the community here in Brisbane, which is just a tale unto itself.
Oh, you gonna share it?
But
or you gonna hold that?
I won't share it. We've slowly been able to get people back into the game, and we've obviously had our like consistent like core group, which is like me and Monty and our lovely friend Dave, who is the Dweg father. Who've always been part of the game, and so we've always maintained a key group that then still has people that comes in and plays thereafter. So no, we've been able to survive, but it's been some rocky roads.
I feel like every kind of game group goes through that at various points.
Yeah, for sure. It's just human nature, right? Like you'll have someone who kicks up a stink and it causes a problem, and then people have got to decide in the breakup what happens. So
yeah, who gets to keep the dog?
Yeah, exactly.
We have visitations at the store on Wednesdays while you have Thursdays. Let's not talk.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, you're allowed in to play your game, and we'll come in and play Conquest thereafter. Yeah.
No, I've seen those and had to do those. I get it. The worst one was when the store closed, and it's like, where do we go? We're a bunch of refugees. Oh
man, I'm so glad that I've got a local store 10 minutes from me, Irresistible Force, and John there who owns it is an absolute champion. And the store is super good.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so you're playing games, you built up a community, you guys are having fun. COVID hit. When did you start Vanguard Garage Gaming? When did you become the grandpappy of Conquest podcasting?
Well, back in my day, Monty and I were sitting there playing some Conquest, and Monty goes, "There's like no content for Conquest," and I'm like, "Damn, you're right." And so we started a podcast. We started a podcast in I think the very first episode was October 2020.
Damn. Like almost 6 years old.
Yes, I know, right? Yeah, it's a preschooler. And so yeah, we just sat down and we recorded. I think our first actual episode was the Spires faction focus, which was like 4.5 hours long. Because we just talked crap for 4.5. Actually, it was way longer than that for recording purposes. I had to cut so much out because I think at one point Monty and I were talking in circles, and we realized we were talking in circles. So I think I cut a bunch of time out there, and we needed, coffee and bathroom breaks in there as well. So yeah, but no, that pod, I think that was our first ever like actual episode. I think we did like an introductory episode being like, hey, this is who we are and what we're doing. And then the first episode, I'm pretty sure, was the Spires faction focus, which I think to this day still has like the most listens, because that episode was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, we just did that, and we started the podcast there, and it was heaps of fun, and we'd record every week or two. And then the saddest part is not being able to record more frequently over the last couple of years, because I had my son, and Monty had his second kid, his daughter, and so like time has just been like an impossibility to find, because like we'd record like straight after dinner of a night, because if we're going to talk for 3-4 hours, we don't want it to be we're about to go to work the next morning when we finish. And so, yeah, like we start at, 7:30 p.m., but like that's the time we're putting our kids to sleep now, which makes it a tad difficult to manage. Maybe when my tiny hoplites figured his life out and he can put himself to bed, we'll be okay. and Monty's daughter have to do the same. So, but yeah, it'll be. I have done a couple of solo episodes just to put some content out that I thought was necessary. Like we spoke about earlier is like the Euroni faction focus was one that I wanted to get out there.
When I first heard that one, I called it the Euroni address. I was like, yeah, this is 100% Reese just coming in and clarifying a bunch of stuff just so it's explained at some point, so people are going to be like, what does this actually do? Yeah.
And it's always those things, right? It's like, and to be fair, we still never have actually done a Sorcerer Kings faction focus because one of the benefits of being behind the hood of the game is I knew that things were changing, so I didn't want to release an episode to then immediately have to update the entire episode, and then with new model, and then by the time I was like, hey, we could probably do one, we were adding earth and water next. I'm like, well, there's no point doing it again. So it's been a bit of a waiting game, but I do need to eventually go back. I was actually going to steal our dear friend, and amazing Australian player Ewan for that one at some point, because he is our resident Sorcerer King god. And I might steal him for that if I can't get hold of young Montgomery and figure out a way to do that episode.
No, that'd be cool. Yeah, like Sorcerer Kings is so huge of a faction, considering it's kind of like four factions in one, just because of each of the elements.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's very much the four of everything. And yeah, having the faction's super cool. Just from like when it was originally designed, and we were going through all that and like writing it all up, I was like, this faction is going to be sick. And I actually collected and painted the faction. I played it at BrizCon 2020. Which year did it release in? 3? Whatever year it released in.
No, it would have been in 2020.
I don't even remember
2022 anymore. Is when I started playing. Old
Maybe 2024.
Then came out
because Euroni was this year, which is 2025. So yeah.
Yeah, it was the previous year.
Yeah. So yeah, I built and painted the army for BrizCon in 24, and the army realized that it didn't like me. I've never rolled worse dice in my life, and there's a running joke here in Australia that my dice hate me, but they hated me incredibly much when I was playing Sorcerer Kings. So I had to let them go.
Do you have pink dice?
I do have pink dice.
Oh, yeah,
you and I had this discussion a few weeks ago or a month ago, and I went and bought pink dice, and even the pink dice hate me.
Wow, that is rough, because usually if I find like the most girly, unmanly thing ever and use that, it works out great. I've just accepted my fate.
Oh, dude, they're really nice dice too. It's just
you picked out nice pink dice. No. You got to get the shitty pink dice. My pink dice were like
maybe
$10.
That's where I read wrong.
Yeah.
I'll just go trash can diving and try and find some pink dice, and we'll go from there.
Should just get a random dice from every single player you like opponent. Like
it's funny enough because it's a super common thing for when we play like events that especially like team and group events where people have like their club on a dice. I have so many different club dice because of like the like Age of Sigmar tournaments and that I've played, and so yeah, it's just and it's just funny collecting all of the different club dice. I could probably do a whole set just with those.
Yeah, just grab 30 of those and you'll be fine.
Yep, exactly.
We're good. No, it's good to hear. Good to hear. What else? We talked about that. We talked about that. So so you got into Vanguard Garage Gaming. You made a podcast. I'm glad you made it, because you're one of the many reasons of why BonkTable exists is because of you, to be honest. Because I also noticed that there's a lack of Conquest, just content in general, and I was like, oh, I can make this. This will be fun. But I also was like listening to a lot of your stuff when I was driving back and forth from like there's a small town called Kenora. It's basically a tourist trap, and one of my buddies and I would play there, and that was a 2-hour drive just to go play Conquest.
Yep, fair.
So I was like, oh well, I got to go there and back in a night. There's 4 hours. There's the Spires episode. We're good. Long format content works every time.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it was always, Monty and I always laugh because we originally started it with the intent of an episode being quite short form content, like an hour, hour and a half.
No.
And I don't think we ever did an episode that was an hour or an hour and a half.
No, you never did. There probably was one in there, but
there was probably some that were close, but I'm pretty sure most of them were 2 hours and up.
Yeah. So how did you get into Parabellum? What was your secret of sneaking in and being like, let me climb into here and touch everything? How'd you do it?
I just sort of pushed my way in. No, that's a lie. So I mentioned earlier that
when you're like, everyone put your hands up, I have spiders. You start throwing it on them.
I just knocked on the door, pretending to be a pizza delivery guy. They let me in, and they just never could get rid of me. I mentioned earlier that when I first started, Leo was the community manager. So he was the Vanguard manager. So when you were a Vanguard and you were communicating back and forth with Parabellum, it was through Leo being the direct community lead. And so I reached out to him one day, just out on a whim, and I was like, hey, me and my mates have been playing this game a bunch. Here's some stuff I think could probably do with FAQs and updates and erratas and all that sort of stuff. And Leo was like, cool, thank you so much. And some of that actually went live as an FAQ and an update and an errata. And so then when it came to playtesting Wadroon and it came to playtesting, so Wadroon was done as a blanket. Every Vanguard is a playtester. Oh, wow. And so every Vanguard had access to playtesting Wadroon, and Monty and I did a absolute bollocks load of Wadroon testing for that. And then Old Dominion, it was narrowed down a bit, and then it was just during the Old Dominion playtesting, I reached out to Leo again. I was like, hey, I'd really like to help just work on rules, because I enjoyed the FAQ stuff that I'd written up previously and sent through. And Leo was like, yeah, sweet, let's do it. And so, yeah, we just kept talking back and forth, and I helped a bit with the Old Dominion doc and got that up and running. And then after Old Dominion was City States, and so with City States, Leo and I sat down, and apart from him teaching me Greek, it was us writing up and designing City States and getting the document written up with all the special rules and the army entries and everything, and then setting it out to play testers and gathering the feedback and just kind of ended up doing it that way. Or I just pinged Leo one day and was like, hey, can I help out with this stuff? And I did. And I've been doing it ever since. So
now you've moved, so you went from playtest, you got kind of hired on. Was there an intermittent point, or were you just directly into design because you've been helping with all this playtest stuff?
So I'd always been just helping with design just in general. But when I first came on board, officially with Parabellum, my official status was as a sales rep for Australia and New Zealand. Because we didn't have anybody over here. We have one distributor over here, which is Aetherworks. And we had nobody looking after stores or anything over here, or anybody with any sort of knowledge of Australia for the most part. So I came on board originally with that. And so I was reaching out to stores around Australia and New Zealand, being like, hey, this is the game. This is how you can order it. This is, and basically answering questions like that and being a sales rep.
Sweet.
And while I was doing that, I was still just, helping Leo with rules. And then it sort of got to the point where, and this is just a weird thing with Australia, and people around the world will know it as a bit of a meme, which is the pricing over here is ridiculous for war games. Anybody who's ever seen a Warhammer kit for sale in Australia will understand.
Is that what I'm going to smuggle to Australia? Is just wargaming kits?
Mate, you laugh, but when Mortarion, the Death Guard Primarch, released, if you wanted to buy him in Britain, it was £110 or something like that. Or maybe even less, whatever he was. Or let's say he's £100 for the sake of the conversation. And me and my mates worked out it was cheaper for us to fly to London, buy 10 or 20 of him, stay for a couple of days, and fly back, and then sell them just at currency conversion than it was to buy them in Australian dollars.
Jesus Christ. Because I know, I've watched Australian Border Patrol, and I know cigarettes is a big one.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, customs over here is a bit crazy, and so the big thing for us is just we get hit with the running joke is just like the small island tax. But it's just it's crazy. Like because you look at say most things where I think they're almost hitting like a 200% markup, like. $50 is $100 for us, sort of thing. If not more, sometimes. So yeah, it's just rough. So the over here with getting Conquest on, like Conquest is cheaper than Warhammer, but you still need to buy a lot of stuff, and it's one of those things that all games will run through, especially if they're newer games. Is like. You've got that teething issue where a store will go, hey, I could buy that, but I don't know how popular it's going to be. So am I going to just end up with a bunch of spare stock that I can't move? So that was a huge discussion I was having with stores. And so I still do that, but it's not in my official capacity anymore. Like I don't, it's not like my only job is the sales stuff. I mostly focus on the game design stuff, and then if stores reach out to me in Australia, or if there's any store in Australia who wants anything to do with Conquest, then I'm the contact. So yeah,
you talk to him.
Talk to me.
I am in charge of Australian sales distribution.
Yeah, I am the man. No, that's a lie.
So you started in sales. Yeah, because I remember like hopping on the Discord and it was like, Reese is in sales. But whenever you hear anything about Reese, it's always about development. And it's like, what is going on? I was like, I guess he's just wearing two hats.
Yeah, and it's a very common thing with Parabellum is everybody wears many hat. And so you will... even if someone's like, this is my job, is like, there's probably about 3 to 4 other things that they're also dealing with at the same time.
Oh, how fun.
Yep, exactly. So it's one of the things of just like, small team is small team, right? And the team's always growing. But yeah, there's always nearly more things that need to be done than there is people. But that's pretty common overall.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Especially with the way Conquest has grown. Like, I think one of the best things they ever did was to have that deal on that starter set to just get minis into people's hands to start playing the game as easy as possible. I think that was I think that was a great sales decision right off the hop to just get miniatures into people's hands. Because like once people have it, they'll be like, well, I got it. I might as well play it. Oh, it's fun. Okay, cool. I'm gonna get more buddies into it. Like, so I think that was like a great boost at the very start to get just to kind of start off Conquest. So I'm glad that was a decision. And also, my next question for you is now, like, so you moved from sales to design, but you've been doing design. What was it City States was your first major design thing when you were officially design, or was it the one before?
Because I kind of started with Old Dominion, but Old Dominion was mostly, it had already been written and I just helped with like the balancing and the release of it. If that makes sense. So City States was my first, like, from start to finish.
Yeah, because whenever I talk about, like, original City States, everyone's like, it's Reese's Baby, and it's like, yeah, I keep hearing it's Reese's Baby.
I mean, it was so when I first got into Conquest, I played Nords because Norse mythos. Now, when Conquest first came out, they also had this big piece of artwork, which was like, welcome to Conquest. And it had... a preview of like this art piece, and it was one for the Wadroon, so it showed like a Wadroon orc. It showed an Old Dominion, I think it was the Heliarch, and then it showed the Hoplite for City States. And I was like, I want that one. So Nords was basically just my band-aid to play the game until City States released. So I was very sad when Old Dominion won Project 6, and I didn't get my City States straight away. But I did eventually get my City States, and the benefit was I even got to work on them, which was super cool because they were the faction that I wanted from day one. That I actually got to have a moment in the design process for them, which was awesome.
No, I'm glad because I remember City States coming out. I remember Adepticon, and I'm pretty sure you know about Ben.
Yes, correct. I do know about Ben.
Yes, who basically took 2 of the starter boxes and said, "All right, I'm going to win Adepticon," and then he did.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, no, it's and then there was some very what's the word? There was some very harsh changes that were made purely because in the scope of the testing that City States had, it was fine. But then when you ran lots and lots of the same thing, it obviously wasn't fine in a competitive environment. Yeah. So yeah, that was the tenacious bubble from your Polemarch Warlord used to be an aura, not just his regiment.
I remember that.
Yep. So yeah, like you just castled up and you just walked these 2 giant units of hoplites and enough minotaurs to fill the rest of the points in, and you were good.
Yeah. No, what was really funny was like people complained to him that he was spamming, and it was like he only had 4 units to choose from.
It's not spam if it's the only thing you can take. Yeah.
like he got that box like 2 weeks before, and he's told me how he paints. He'll sit down for 16 hours and just paint minis for like the entire day. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's the thing, right? Is like it was the only choices you had, and I think since then, with the release of like the Sorcerer Kings, and Euroni, and now Weaver Courts, is like there's been more initial releases, so people have more options.
Yeah.
Whereas with City States, it was just you have access to the Polemarch, the Aristarch, Hoplites, Phalangites, and then you had access to Minotaurs. And that was it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even get Thorokites and Argema until Wave 2. So yeah, it was like you just had the 2 jewel kit boxes, and that was it.
It was one of the slowest rollouts for a faction in I think the entire game was City States, getting all its stuff.
Yeah, because it was Wave 2 was just Thorokites, Argema, and the Titans, I'm pretty sure. And then after that, it was like your Selene, Satiri, Chariots might have even been about then, Companion Cab, yeah, and like Inquisitors and stuff like that. So yeah, but yeah, it was all very much.
It was rough.
Yeah, it was a slow going release, but wasn't the end of the world, and it gave me plenty of time to paint my like 28 stands of hoplites. So,
still good. Yeah. I like the new rule of the opportunist. If you side smack something there,
yeah, hold's really good. Yeah,
that's a great rule for him.
We were talking just before in the pre-show. It's like I freaking love my City States, and I go back and play them every now and then. And I've been back playing them recently with just like a list that I slapped together, and I think it works really well. And that's just with current rules. There's obviously we do updates all the time, so there's going to be stuff that changes. There's stuff coming out in 2026 that'll obviously change things as well. So yeah, the faction is by far my favorite to play, purely because I think it just suits my play style overall as well.
Okay, so as a developer, you can say no to me. Is there something you would like to share for the wider community about City State specifically? Okay, so I'm gonna preference this. For the listeners, anything that Reese says can be changed right off the hop. All right, so Reese, is there anything you'd like to share that you think has a 90% chance that's going to come out in the January update?
Well, I mean, the January update, I can legally say that the Spires rework will come out in the January update.
Oh my god, this coward! Coward!
Mate, I'm the master of loopholes. You'll just shit.
I said specifically for City States.
Well, no, so you started with specifically City States, but then you changed the question.
No, I had to put a preface in there to cover your ass when it gets changed.
There's nothing within the January update I can think off the top of my head that is like guaranteed, if that makes sense. There's a few things that we want to test out and see where things end up. And the update itself, I'm not even sure what its final scope will be, short of the Spires rework will obviously exist. And then I don't know if the update will end up being a big update, a small update, sort of thing. Like that's still very much up in the air. A very key focus, and we were talking about this just before, is like one of the things we really want to do moving from now into 2026 especially is look at the core rules and make sure that the core rules are like as good as we can physically get them. And so that's been a huge focus. at the moment and moving forward until that happens, as well as like new scenario pack, because we've been playing on the same tournament pack for a while now.
I'm bored. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so bored.
Those two things are like, and this is my opinion, not so much like what'll happen in any order, but those two things are like the most important things at the minute. But obviously there will be balance and updates for the actual game and the armies too, because we obviously want to keep things fresh, and if there's things that are overperforming, underperforming, they obviously need to be touched when need be. So to actually answer the question, because I know I've done a very politician thing there, to actually answer the question, there is nothing I can confirm for January for City States. The one thing I can confirm is obviously Spies rework will exist.
Okay, what's your hope? I know, because I know you're a man of many hats. I know Parabellum is always running around trying to do their best. But what is something you hope gets snuck in for the listeners, if you can say that? If you cannot, you can say no.
There are some updates for some of the Weaver Court stuff at the moment that I am hoping come out sooner rather than later. Just to sort of fix a couple of the like, for example, you look at like Scale Dancers, which are a super cool model, the Summer Brutes. And their stat line isn't exactly as good as it probably needs to be. So some things like that I'm hoping we can get in just to amp up some regiments that might, see the shelf otherwise.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I'm glad to hear. Okay, so Weavers may or may not be getting something. There's your secret.
Basically, yeah.
Well, I tried.
I can only say what I can say, but it's that is the hope and the dream.
No, I know. We have talked about in like the pre-show or like in other chats about stuff, and it's like, okay, cool. Sweet. So how many? So I know like you about chatting and more in DMs. You have also played like 1,500 games of City States.
Actually, probably not 1,500. It's definitely over 800.
Jesus Christ.
I don't have an accurate. I was talking about this the other day because someone in one of our I think it was in our Australian Conquest chat was like, I've played 100 games this year. I'm like, I really should keep track of the games that I play. I've played at least 800 games of City States. That is including playtesting games, though, so it's probably 100 and a bit less than that of actual live City States games. And that's obviously a mix of on-table and TTS, because, there's no physical way of playing that many games on a table with the rest of my life. But I have played a lot of Conquest. I play it whenever I can, basically. I think since day one, I have played over 2,000 games of Conquest.
Jesus, that's a lot of games of Conquest.
So it's a lot of games of Conquest. I'm probably even if I am not already at 2,100 or more. So yeah, I've played a lot of the game. I love the game. Like I was saying before, it's like if I couldn't play it, I'd be very sad. It is my number one war game because I just love playing the game.
You love it so much. Community you got over here hired by the company to keep playing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got hired to help do the thing. So yeah, no, it's an awesome game. I freaking love it. I obviously can see the things that people, I am sure, have mentioned as issues with the game. I'm very aware of that. I'm very active on the Discord and I pay attention to everything that gets said there.
You read all the chats?
Just about, yeah. There's a few that I sort of float in and out of, but for the most part, I read everything.
Man, that must be rough.
It's an experience sometimes. No, the overall, a lot of what it is just it's just feedback, right? Like the best kind of feedback is just people talking. And so when you can see someone like it's people just having a chat, being like, "Oh, this doesn't work, and this is why," it's like that's really good feedback. Feedback where it's just like, "This is shit," and then that's as far as it goes. It's really hard to do anything with that, but I put that down as a note, being like, "There's obviously a problem here," and I need to look at it and into it further. But no, it's really good seeing thousands of people talk about Conquest, and being able to see like what people like and don't like, and the different reasons for it. And it's really good when people then come in with like, I tried this, it didn't work because of this. I'm like, hell yeah, that's good stuff. Like, being able, because obviously people play the game and people love the game. So getting that sort of feedback is really good because it means that we can keep an eye on it and be like, oh, that's, nobody likes this. It's like, why? And this is why. And we can look at it and fix it from there. So it's really good.
No, like, I've been seeing you guys slowly do that over the, over the years of like, take City States for example. What a great choice that one is. And what is it? The Saturoi, the ambush guys, who was like, yep. I believe initially before they were released, a lot of people were like, this unit's gonna mess up the game. And Leo was like, no, it's not. It's fine. But it's like, no, you can side deploy. And then it came out, and then it was like, these guys are too expensive to mess up the game and don't do enough work to mess up the game. They are trash.
So I played a lot of Satiri in playtesting and in like when they released as well. Now, Satiri, their ambush mechanic was absolutely fantastic.
No,
unless you played
terrible.
against somebody. Unless you played against somebody who was aware that it existed. And then they were the most useless regiment because they just would never get to use it, and you're just spending 200 points on a regiment doing nothing. Because if you played against somebody who wasn't aware, and I did this to Judge Worm in a testing game, where I just had a unit of Satiri Vanguard on behind a unit of Thunder Riders, and then fluid formation to stare at their butt. Like, it's when they can do stuff like that, it's awesome because your opponent's like, well, crap. But if your opponent's aware of how they work, you just had to put a pixel of a regiment within 8 inches of a table edge on each side, and the Satiri didn't work.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, I'm dead. Like, I'm out of position, or.
Yep.
Or sometimes
you could literally stop them because you could stop them from deploying by having 1 millimeter of a stand within within 8 inches of the back side of your table edge, and within would be within 3 of the table edge itself, because then the unit physically couldn't arrive parallel with the board edge and move onto the board without being within an inch of the regiment. So you could literally just completely jam the Satiri working at all, because their biggest trick was obviously getting in behind a regiment. But if they can't get in behind something, then yeah, you're just wasting points.
Yeah, and that's people usually after a game it was like, oh, okay, that was fun, and then after that it's like, these guys don't work anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I played a game against him with Jeff, like I just said, and then the next time I played Jeff, he was just like, "I'm just going to put you in here and I can't do anything." I was like, "Yep, that's fair and understandable. That is the right call."
Which is like, sweet.
Did the same thing to Monty, and I was like, "Here, let's flank you with some Satiri and completely ruin anything that walks onto the table." And he's like, "Cool, I'm just going to put a unit here." I'm like, "Yep, there we go."
Yeah, I even got charged for those guys in the back, and I was like, "Oh no, my life is over." And then I'm like, "Wait a minute, I have a second unit of household knights just kind of."
They can just walk on.
No, yep. They were already sitting in between. It was like, I charge you.
Ooh, poor choice.
Yeah, I was like, I've just covered myself with more houses. Whatever. I just found them too expensive, and their mechanic, once you understood it, did not work.
Yeah, and that was their issue, right? And it's you look at them now, where I think they were 160 points, and they're just vanguarding
160,
vanguarding attacks. Yeah, it's just it's they're a unit that functions. I know that you had some silly goat list that someone was doing.
Oh, that's Kyle, but the 8 chariot guy. He was at Hios. You met him. He was the mustache.
Yeah. That's it. I wasn't sure if it was one of his lists or not, but yeah. So it's they're a decent unit. They're obviously just a bunch of attacks with Vanguard and Cleave one. Like that's kind of all they're really doing.
And Opportunist.
Yep.
Opportunist works.
True. Very true. Yeah.
Like, nothing wrong with that. That's actually like a great rule on them.
Oh, mate, I've been playing a lot of Weaver Courts. Opportunists on CNA Riders, absolutely fantastic.
Oh, let's talk about Weaver Courts then. Because I know you... So here's the thing. I have not played a game of Weaver Courts yet, sadly. I just haven't got one, you know. I know you have. I've watched, quotes,
I've played a lot of Weaver Courts.
Watched you and Saxon play a game, and mostly you go, my dice hate me. Units that require dice to do well are not working for me.
It is very true.
So what?
Like, I've had a lot of Weaver Courts.
So did you do any design for Weaver Courts, or did you because
I helped with since City States I've helped with the design of all the factions since. So City States, City States, Sorcerer Kings, Euroni, Weaver Courts, and obviously moving into Faction 11.
Do we have a name for that one yet?
Yeah, it's Faction 11. And then and obviously like the reworks in that too. So like the reworks for the Nords, the reworks for Dwegom, like all that. I've had hands in those too. So but no, yeah, I did assist with the design of the Weaver Courts, yes.
So what part of it did you do? What was one unit you made?
I mean, Leo and I kind of design all of it together. It's not so much I did this, he did this. It's like we'll write some ideas and then both of us will go through it and we'll make it a functioning document. So I did a lot of like the base skeleton work to start with, and then we both sat down and fleshed out all the regiments. I do know that a rule I had a hand in making sure it stayed was what did it end up getting called? It is... Please hold. I'm just bringing up the Skydra. It is called Terraform. So when the Skydra dies, it turns into a forest. Just because I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, why not? Where is the Skydra?
It's Scoth Drake is how it's written. It's
okay.
Funny Celtic pronouncing words. Yep.
Yeah, I remember there was like a Word document. I'm like, I cannot be bothered. These guys are the
archers. If you look at the start of the PDF for the Weaver Courts, there's like a translation guide. It's actually on the army builder too. If you click like the little thing of like the army rules and the gifs, it has how to pronounce as your guide there.
God. War sheet with a soft V or W sound. Yeah, I'm not that. People have already seen me try and pronounce stuff. I've butchered my way through Sorcerer King, City States, Old Dominion. I haven't even bothered to attempt with Euroni because I know that's going to be bad. Like everyone knows that I'm not going to pronounce any.
The Euroni is actually pretty simple because they're just like it's like Tengu. Like I think the most complicated one would be like the Mahotsu, like just because it's spelled a little bit weird. But like that's the rest of it's all pretty simple.
Well, I go like sword birds, bow birds, big suits of armor, the fat guys, and it's like the floaty armor. It's like. The 4-year-old is here now.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was thinking it's like Domaru Dashu, Domaru Mashu,
Domaru Domashi, yeah.
Domaru Domashu, yeah. See, here's my issue. I never got to play. What was that game? Fuck. Now I'm gonna Google this stupid game. Game where you roll a ball and pick up stuff, and it gets bigger.
What?
Katamari Damacy. There we go. I never got a chance to play that, so obviously I don't know any of the pronunciation because that was never pivotal in my life.
See, I know a lot of the pronunciation because I'm a massive weeb. So
that's why you play Tau.
That just no, not so much. I probably wasn't as much of a weeb when I played Tau.
Oh my gosh. No, that is cool that you designed. So now you were playing Weavers before because you were like, this is going to be the thing. You want to, I don't know, play the new thing so you can get ahead of the game here.
Not so much that I like playing. So I've like I said, I've played every faction. One of the main things that I like doing is I like playing every faction a bunch so that it gives me an idea for where the balance of the faction sits. Right. Mm-hmm. So. It's like even like I mentioned before, it's like I played Sorcerer Kings and they hated me, but I still played them a bunch. And it gives me because I find that if I can play, like it's really easy to look at the document and be like, okay, this number could obviously be better. But sometimes changing a single number, like a tax from 5 to 6, might have like cascading, positives or negatives depending on, which side of the board you're on. And so having an understanding of how the faction works on the table and plays on the table, and the way that the combos work and actually playing the faction, I love doing that, because it means that I then have a really good understanding of like especially when people then send feedback being like, hey, this doesn't work for this reason. I'm like, I know that you're right about that, or I can understand how you might have come to that conclusion. So let me have a bit more of a look at it.
Do you ever
that's one of the things that I love doing.
Do you ever you get a feedback and they're like, hey, this doesn't work because of this reason. You're like, what are you doing? How did you get here? What is happening?
There has been a few like that. A lot of those ones arise and it's usually because of a misunderstanding of a core function. So, like, I remember there was some feedback I had for something. I don't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head, and I was like, the reason you're having this, someone was doing like mad impacts with stuff and all that sort of jazz. And I'm like, well, what if you hide in a forest? And they're like, because the forest doesn't protect me from impacts. I'm like, yes, it does. It's hindering. And like, so like, it's usually, not always, but usually when there's like a massive, this doesn't work for this, there's another reason I find to be like, okay, let me double check the entire situation. But sometimes it is just like, this doesn't work. And then you go, okay, cool, let's find out why.
Yeah, no, I get that. Also, what was it? Reading the rules unlock powers that the Jedi.
Yes, yeah. Reading the rules unlock powers that you'd never believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Reading is hard. Man, you need to find an old guy to read the rule book and just be like, here you go. We found an old guy to read the rule book to you. You can listen to that. That'd be the worst.
I think there's been a threat of making like Leo or Stavro like read it as like a podcast format, but I think it would just take too long. So I don't think there would ever be the time to do so.
Who cares? I don't care if it takes 18 hours. I listen to audiobooks. I can listen to a rulebook being read.
Oh man, I listen to so many audiobooks too. I got a mad commute to work, so I can feel that. No, I mean, hell, I would do it. Not gonna lie, but I wanna make sure the rules are
good in a good spot.
Yeah, well,
written nice.
Yeah, exactly. Like make sure they've been redone in a way where we can catch, because it's one of the things, right? Is like the rule book is still very much a Band-Aid. Like every time Leo and I have done something to it, we've like fixed something, and so but we haven't really had time to go through and do like a full let's redo the whole thing. And so once that happens, I'll happily sit down and read the rule book. I can do it in like a sultry, sitting in front of a fireplace in a cozy dressing gown sort of style.
Yeah, can we get you to have like a glass of whiskey and then like you can take sips of it in between your reading, and someone can come and like, there's, like a nice fireplace with books around. Like this is those Christmas fire logs. It'll be like one of those.
Exactly. Yep.
We can just mute you or unmute you when we want to learn about rules.
That's it. Just be like, which chapter we need to be at? This one? All right, here we are.
You're just like, oh, I forgot my place. The outtakes. This man sat here for like 25 hours to do this.
Yep. Someone wasted a week doing this, yep.
Oh my god. I always want to know about the guys who read audiobooks. How many takes does it take to read these books? And like, how many words do they fuck up? Because like, I've been listening to the 40K stuff, and there's some names there where I'm like, man, I would have fucked that up a billion times before we got to this pronunciation.
Oh, dude, I listened to I've listened to all of the Horus Heresy books, like the Black Library stuff.
Yeah, with Mike, was it Mike Strong or whatever, the guy who does it?
Yeah, and one of the guys who does a lot of is Jonathan Keeble, and yeah, like listening to, sometimes you can hear like the slight audio change, and you're like, he made a mistake there, or it's a different day, or he had to take a break or something, and it'd be funny to see, especially for like those books are like 12 to 18 hours for a Horus Heresy book. So I'm just like, yeah, imagine the actual recording time for the whole thing, like including, any sort of like mess up you make, and then you've got to like, cut it and paste it. Oh yeah, it'd be crazy.
It was, I think it's from Stephen King is 44 hours.
Mate, if you've never read it, I highly recommend the Lightbringer Chronicles from.
Is that Brandon Sanderson, or is that
no? It's not Sanderson. It's Brand. It is. It's like a Brandon Weeks, I think it is. It's the first book would be called The Black Prism.
Brent Weeks.
It's like. Thank you, Brent Weeks. Yeah, that series is incredible. The audiobooks are like 40 hours long. Oh, God. And there's 5 of them. They're like, and the series is incredible. So I highly recommend it for anybody who hasn't read or listened to it.
I am currently reading the Ravenloft books from like D&D
awesome.
3.5.
Yeah.
The first one was written in 1990, and so like I got into them like in high school, and I read the second one, what's like Lord Sloth, who's the best character, and then I'm like, I should probably just read all of these. So.
Nice.
I was like, man, these are going to be really expensive. Nah, they were like $10 per book.
Yep. And Ravenloft is my favorite like setting for D&D. Like that place is awesome.
Well, because it like puts stakes and actual fear, and it's not a good place, and like you can die and that's it. You're done.
Yep.
Like you actually feel like, oh, if I screw up, I'm not coming back.
Yep, that's it. Yep, exactly. No, I love it. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, no, I love Ravenloft as well. Curse of Strahd's a really good one.
Yeah, Curse of Strahd's like that. That's my shit.
Yeah, there's also like I played a lot of 3.5, so there's like a whole Ravenloft like module for it all, and also like a wider map of the area, not just was it Boravia, like Strahd's land.
Boravia. Yep.
Thank you. My pronunciation is terrible. So yeah,
it's all good.
Like, there's actually a wider map, and it shows all this different stuff, and then talks about like different each of the different regions. Like, there's Vecna fighting his lieutenant off to the side, and it's literally they cannot cross the border themselves to finish the conflict, so they have to keep sending waves and waves of their own men at each other. It's like, Jesus Christ, this place sounds awful.
Yep. Yeah, dude, I've run many a Curse of Strahd game in D&D, and yes, it's great. It's awesome.
Oh, it's one of the it's one of the best written modules from 5th edition, or really any of them, kind
of. Agreed.
Now we got 6. Have you played the latest D&D?
I've not actually. I keep looking at it, but I haven't had a chance to. We've me and my mates tend to play Pathfinder just because.
Crunch.
It's Crunch, which I love Crunch because I got into D&D playing 3.5.
Same.
So yeah, so I play a lot of D&D 3.5. So then playing friggin' Pathfinder, it's basically just like playing 3.5, but just slightly better.
Well, they fix what is it? The use rope skill that took your heal skill, where you could use rope to make an adamantium door and use it as a shield. It was like, this is fucking nutty.
Yeah, there was some weird stuff in 3.5. So yeah, Pathfinder just has like so much like content, like with all of the books and everything like that, that it just feels so much better than like 3.5 obviously had some, but like having access to like all of like,
dude, I have 4 CDs of PDFs. Remember, these are CDs of PDFs for all of 3.5. Every single module, single like 100%. Was it Dragonlance, Erebodon, the sun one, what was in the desert where the sun was like killing people? I forget what that one was called. Oh man, people love this one. It's D&D.
Yeah, no, it's like me and my group. We have all of the physical Pathfinder books, like every single one on a bookshelf, which is just awesome.
Dark Sun, there we go. It was that one. I knew it was Sun something.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, no, I like that's how I did it. But yeah, no, I get you. It's freaking crazy. I should probably go play Pathfinder. I'd probably like it more.
Yeah, crunchy D&D is the best kind of D&D. Like, don't get me wrong, I played a lot of 5th edition. Like when I first moved over here to Brisbane, like all my mates here were playing like 5e. So like I was playing 3.5 over in WA. When I moved over here, everyone was playing 5e. So I'm like, oh cool, I'll play 5e. I'm down. But there hits a point I find with 5e where you've kind of done everything. Like you run out of like different characters you can create. Yeah. And like that was always the thing that I loved the most in 3.5. Like just being like looking through a book and being like, here's this incredibly obscure prestige class. You're like, oh, I could do that. And then you make this like bizarro character that does this like weird prestige class. Whereas in 5th edition, it's like, you play a fighter and then you pick one of, I mean, now with things like Xanathar's Guide to Everything and the extra like additional books they've added, like Volos and stuff like that, you've got like more archetypes. But like when we were playing, there was 3 archetypes per class and then that was it.
Yeah,
and once you'd played each thing 3 times, that was it. Like you had nothing left to do.
I also found like 5th edition D&D kind of ended around 10th to 12th level. Like that, like there was no point going beyond that because it was like you were either way too powerful for whatever the challenge was, or like the scale creep was way too high for various classes, where it was like unfun to play those classes after that point.
Yeah, we only ever made it to like 20th level in like one campaign, and even then, it felt like by the time, especially like you were 16th, that you kind of had done everything.
Yeah.
And because like especially in like 5th, when you hit like 16th level, the only thing you're missing is your capstone for your class, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad. Like you just like you don't really need it. It's not, and especially if you're multi-classing it, you don't even get one. So it doesn't even matter. And I think the campaign where we did hit 20th level, I was playing a Bard Warlock because that combination is busted fun. And yeah, so I didn't have a capstone ability. So by the time I'd hit like 3 levels of Bard and 12 levels of so like 14th, 15th level, I already had everything that I needed. I wasn't going to get anything crazy after that. Yep, exactly. So yeah, no, D&D's great. Looking forward to when our tabletop comes out for Conquest.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Tell me.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sad it'll be 5th edition purely because of like accessibility, but I can understand why, because again, accessibility. Look, it is still coming. To answer your question, like what's happening with it, it's like it's a lot of art, it's a lot of text, it's a lot of lore, it's a lot of everything, and it's just finding the time to get it all done. I know that it is. It was meant to be this year. I don't know if it's been locked in for 2026, but it is definitely still coming, and it's definitely still being sorted. But it's a lot of stuff. And we mentioned before, it's like PB small company, so like you got to wear many hats, and sometimes the hat has to cover so many things, and away you go.
Yeah, because also
it's still coming.
The art creation for that book has to be way more than anything else that the war game is going to do.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because like you look at like the actual tabletop game, and like the only art you really need is like the command card art, and like maybe some like larger splash images of like, and then you're done. But whereas like with the tabletop RPG, you need like everything needs a picture. You need like art for all of the backgrounds and all of the environments and all of the regions and all of the items that exist and all this sort of stuff. So like there's a lot of stuff that needs to get piled into that.
Well, then you also get into art of like just the common folk for each of the different factions. Like, what does a Spire's bizarre like market look like? Like, do the Spires buy stuff?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like? Because we know they clean their vats a lot and they fill their vats up a lot. But like, does the clone go down and buy himself a new hat when he gets some bio bucks or what? Like, do the Spires have currency? They need to show art for that, because there's probably going to be a thing about currency because people love money.
You need to be able to buy. You need to be able to buy your health potions somehow.
Yeah, like what currency do the Woodrune have? I'm pretty sure it's not orc teeth.
And with their limits of metal is it just like wood chips or something? Who knows? Yeah, like
they got
and that's the thing, right? It's like, you need to answer so many questions, and a lot of it needs pictures. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm keen. I'll definitely get my group to play, just because we love playing tabletops in general, and being able to like lay a Conquest on top, because the fact that it's going to be some sort of like gritty hellscape that is basically Conquest. I'm keen to put my party through that.
Yeah, and I hope my hope is they probably will have like a level 1, level 2 module, like to run it to get the feel of it.
Yeah, like a starter thing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I've already like having a quotes a plan to either record /stream that that thing with a bunch of guys, just to be like, here we go,
Nice.
like just to get it out there, because like it'll be interesting to see, it'll be interesting to play. It should be fun. People are more than happy to get online for like a session and play this out, and also people will be excited to like see how it is, and like if they want to buy it, because like, oh, it's interesting, like this is how it works, cool.
Plus exposure for like tabletop games are so big these days. Like everybody and their dog's playing some form of TTRPG somewhere, and so like having that exposure is also just like huge. And then if people enjoy it, it gets people into the tabletop game, and then we get more people playing the tabletop game, and that's everybody wins.
I hope someone becomes a Force-grown drone. Just they got their one Force-grown drone they painted slightly off compared to everyone else. It's like, that's me.
Yep, that's Steve over there.
Steve would be a Force-grown drone, that poor bastard.
I was just using it as a generic name, but I'll let you blame for that one.
Oh, that'd be funny. Steve the Force-grown drone. All right. Do you want to talk about your Weaver's experience, or do you want to talk about...
No, I'm happy to talk about my Weaver's experience.
Okay, then we're going to talk about Weaver's experience, and I'm going to skip the other choices. Okay, how are you finding Weavers? Because remember, I haven't played them. I've seen a couple games between the competent people and quotes competent, like the Conquest players who I do TTS and stuff with, and I hopped on while I was at the gym and kind of watched it while doing weights on and off. And mostly all I remember is
I think you caught the end of Saxon and my game.
Yeah, you hate Cran Guardians is all I remember.
Yes, I have a so overall, I really like Weavers. I didn't think I was going to initially when they were first sort of revealed as a faction. And then I was like, you know what? Like when we started design, and this is always a downside of being part of the design process, right? Is I get to see them evolve and just be like, okay, these are actually kind of cool. I rate them a lot. Like so I played Eldar a bit in 40k, purely because one of my mates had Eldar, and I didn't want to collect an army, so I was like, hey, let me play the army and we'll see how it goes. Turns out I'm actually pretty good with Eldar. And Weaver Courts, I find, play very similar to them in like sort of like they're fairly fragile, but they're also they've got like crazy like tricks and stuff you can do with them. They've got like decent to good damage output. They're consistent. And yeah, so like the army as a whole functions really well, and it plays like this castling up, hit and run sort of style, where you sort of want to like go in, do something, or stay at range, do something, and then like just collapse at the end of the game. So my comment you made before about my hate for Cran Guardians is I played a lot of Weaver Courts. In every single game of Weaver Courts where I had Cran Guardians in my list, those things died so fast, doing absolutely nothing, that it just became a pointless reason to sink the points into them. So I had Men-at-Arms just walk up to them and murder like 3 of them. I had a unit of Golter Beast Pack march charge and kill 3 of them.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and it was just like, okay, like it was a march charge into the front, so I'm D4 from the front.
Oh no, you're not. And you're D2. Line breaker impact, brutal 1.
Obviously, yeah. But it's like but even then, it's just like I took D3 shield E1 and then resolve E0 actually anyway and then resolve 3, and they just fall apart. So I'm just like, you know what, instead of putting points into Cran, I'll just run more moths. And so my list was it was a Morshi on top of a Coil Jar, and then it was like some Kerns with the other characters, the Runshi and the Xianqi, and then a couple of Will-O-Wisps, and then just fill the rest out with moths. 1 to 2 Shihan, which are the bomber moths, and then the rest of them there'd be at least 3 units of Sioneer, which are the shooty moths. And the list functioned really well, and I really enjoyed it. My dice aside, it plays quite well, and it's 13, 14 cards, which it is just like this inherent bonus that Weaver Courts get is like you're paying like a lot of your regiments are fairly cheap, they're very effective for their points cost, and it just means you end up with lots of cards. And yeah, so I originally was playing them as a very like early, like score early, try and push your opponent back, and like try and just maintain a bit of a lead, and that works sometimes. But I was finding more and more that, because Weaver Courts are mostly just evasion to the army, as soon as you were made to roll dice, you were just like hemorrhaging units. And so I tweaked my playstyle a little bit and became a bit more of a moving castle. So you create layers, right? So you got like your wisps to protect your kern, and then you got your moths that can sit sort of in that sort of area as well. And you got like a dragon or two doing their thing. And obviously this is pre like Gemred Knights that have just released. The list changes a bit with Gemreds. So, but yeah, and by changing the play style to be a bit more of a castle late game, the army functions really well. So basically you play a kill confirm, so everything in your army shoots one thing, kills it, and then moves on to the next thing. And yeah, and so you eventually just need to like blow through all your opponent's stuff, and hopefully you can do enough damage in the like sort of like round 4 to 5 area that then you can push in and like start scoring points while your opponent has lost enough stuff that they no longer can. And you got to play. You basically got to play for that late game. And then when you look at the release of the Gemred Knights now as well, which are obviously another heavy option in the list, is you kind of want to play that more, like play that late game army. So yeah, the army plays really well. It plays really fun. Obviously, again, the running theme is just my dice hate me, and so like I took the army down to HeroCon that we had at the start of November. End of November? One of the two. I forget, time is an illusion these days. And so and I went, I think 1-3-1. So 1 win, 1 loss, 3 losses and a draw.
Damn.
I had a first game was against Rob, which was absolutely lovely, and it was actually a very close game for Rob standards. We played melee, and I lost by like less than 30 points, which is pretty good into 100 Kingdoms Theist Feudal. And then I played into Pure Orders, and obviously these two lists just were a bit of a pain because this was pre-Gemred, which meant that there was like no cleave in the army.
Yeah.
And so you're just rolling bulk dice into defense 4. Some of it's re-rolling 6s, like the Rob game, and so it's just like you're just hoping for the best. And so same into the orders list, and then I played into Wadroon, where I just couldn't do enough damage before they got into me. Played into Nords, where I was able to get the win there, and then drew into Nords again, which was a 4-5 Jotnar list.
Oh, here we go, Monster Mash.
Yeah, so and I got a draw into that one because I was able to just like absolutely butcher some mountain Jotnars before they were actually able to like completely ruffle stomp through my army. So, but no, overall, I think the Weaver Courts are actually very good. I think they're very strong as well, especially with access to the Gemreds now, and then moving into the end of January, we'll have access to the Skaha Hunters, which are the autumn unit. And they're just like lots of dice hitting on 4s with deadly blades. And so yeah, like being able to just like absolutely mess out damage there is really good. And then under a Morshi, or with a Morshi attached to them as well, which is the melee character, in autumn they get +1 attack, so they're like 6 attacks each, hitting on 4s. Opportunists, deadly blades, I think, from memory.
Yeah, that looks about right. Lose formation.
Yeah, so
can't shoot them with outside of 8. Yeah, it looks like
outside of 8. Yeah, if you're bloomed or if they're hiding in a forest, you can't see them at all outside of 8. So yeah, they're super good. And then yeah, with their special rule is if you have a bloom on you, autumn bloom on you specifically, they get +2 to charge you. So they're speed 6, which can go to speed 7 if your warlord's autumn, which then becomes a 9 plus a D6 from the charge. So yeah, they're super consistent. They're super cheap. They're a medium unit as well. And yeah, they absolutely pump out damage. And yeah, using like Gem Red. When I was doing playtesting, one of my favorite lists was an Autumn Winter list. So it was a Morshi Warlord, but you could probably easily swap it to like the Xianxi Warlord under Winter, just because it gives you easy access to to getting Dread out there through your Wisps. But running the Autumn Winter list, which is just Gem Red and Scarha Hunters, it's a phenomenal list to play. So come January, that'll be a very fun army list to play. Whereas at the moment, you're kind of like taking like a bit of everything, or you're just focusing on like pure winter or pure spring for the most part, with like, you know, maybe a little bit of autumn just from the way things roll out. But yeah, the army's a lot of fun, and I'm super keen to see it shape up some more. And like with the release of like the Fianna Cav that are coming up, as well as like Gallo Glass, which will get tuned down for anybody who thinks they won't. You're wrong. They will definitely get tuned down. They released overtuned. They didn't get the final balance before PDF hit, so just be aware of that. And then obviously the Wild Hunt, because when the Wild Hunt releases, the army changes a lot, because of obviously access to the avatars of the hunt, which are the little pseudo characters that the army has.
I hope that they show up as like the JoJo Pillarmen, just in that stance of each when they come up.
Hang on,
the big Wild
Pillarmen.
Oh, do you not know about the
Okay,
JoJo
yeah,
Pillarmen?
I get you.
Yeah, like just doing the stance.
I mean, you're not wrong. The Wild Hunt is a super awesome model. So for anybody who's unaware, it's 4 characters that connect to like Voltron together to become a monster. So it's not that they themselves Voltron together, it's just the fact that they combine to become a single regiment of like the 4 crazy characters. And so yeah, you have access to punching them out as like little pseudo characters, or you can run them as this one big monster, which is absolutely bonkers. And then when it dies, it spits a hunter out into a friendly regiment, which is awesome.
Oh, power of the voice! When seed markers bloom within 8 of this regiment, they always bloom as all 4 seasonal bloom effects.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a very good rule.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, being able to punch out all 4, and that is a big thing with the Wild Hunt, is like it just unlocks just different ways for the faction to actually function, because obviously it lets you take your avatars of the hunt if you want to like spice up some regiments. Some really good combinations if people want to test them now, is like putting a avatar of spring in a unit of moths is really good, because it gives them a free volley action. So now it means they can, you know, reform, march, shoot, and away they go. Yep. And so you like, they can do some really cool things there. My favorite use for the Avatar of Spring is, funnily enough, putting it in a unit of Gem Red, because it now gives the Gem Red a random free shooting action. But the best part about the Avatar of Spring for putting, and specifically for Gem Red, is he has a rule called Life Anew, which is kind of activates like a draw event, but basically he just heals the regiment for 4 when the regiment activates. So you've now got 7 wound Gem Red that can heal for 4. And when he heals, he also pulses out seeds to everything within, so I think it's like up to 4 regiments within like 10 or 12 inches. So yeah, the Avatar of Spring in a unit of Gem Red is actually a lot of fun. You can also put like a unit, the Wild Hunter of Winter going into like a unit of, say, like Blah Maidens, where you just got, here's like a basic infantry unit, and now all of a sudden that infantry unit can like mess with your opponent's resolve, and it has a bunch of brutal impact 2 on the charge, as well as a bunch of cleave 2 just added into the regiment as well. So some fun little things like that.
No, this is nasty. Fuck these
Yeah,
things.
Summer in Cran is also good, because the regiment can no longer be broken. And if they would break, they pulse seeds. So it works really well in conjunction with the Cran Guardians rooted might action where they can also still pulse out seeds or make their relentless blows better. So, and also by them never breaking, it fixes a problem I have with them, which is you can't heal the stupid things when they're broken. So, if by putting the Avatar of Summer in there, they no longer can break, which means they can always be healed, which means it's a lot harder to get rid of, the Cran.
The Cran Guardians can finally do their job and not die on you.
Exactly. They might even come out of retirement when the Wild Hunt releases, just so I can test that some more.
Do we have a release? Are they coming out in 2026? Or is that too far?
What's that? The Wild Hunt? Yeah. So everything that's in the Weaver Courts PDF will be released by the end of next year.
Oh my god! And what happens if it doesn't? Who gets lynched?
Probably me.
Oh. Accepting your
fate. From memory, everything in that army list is on the release schedule for 2026.
And that's
so that shouldn't change. Yeah.
And then the faction's done, and we never have to worry about another Weaver Court release ever again.
No, never. The way that we do things is everything gets fun new toys. So like, what is it? I know that 100K is getting some new stuff this year. I know that City States are getting some new stuff this year, and Spires are obviously getting some new stuff as well because they're getting the Deso Beast, the Consumption Beast, and the Merchant Prince in January alongside their rework. I'm trying to think who else. I feel like there is something for Wadroon, and there's definitely Sorcerer Kings, and I'm pretty sure every faction has something on the release schedule. I could be wrong, and there might be some things that might be just like placeholders, because that does happen with our release schedule. It's like, hey, this can fit in here if possible, but it all depends on time, right? So, but I can, definitely new 100 Kingdoms, definitely Weaver Courts by the end of 26. You'll see everything in the PDF. Definitely new City State stuff. Yeah, so yeah, there's some cool stuff coming. Cool stuff coming.
What's the 100K one? Is it Order of the Sword?
It is a yes.
Yep.
I said a yes before you said what that was. No. It's a yes that they are getting something, but I'm not going to say what it is.
This is the worst spoiler man in the whole world. Because we know whenever you say it won't happen, so you can't say anything.
I mean, it's like that's not entirely true. I could say what it is, but I have a record to uphold, which is I went through the entirety of Heo 2024 saying Faction 9 instead of Uroni. So
you're not going to start now.
So I'm not going to start teasing things ahead of time now as much as I can.
If this is the only thing that's going to work is me not spoiling anything to anybody.
That's exactly it. I can't be proven wrong if I never said it in the first place.
Liability will not be placed upon me. Oh my god. Oh man. All right. So I'm glad you're Weaver's is gonna. Seems like it's going to do really well. I'm excited for it. I need to get some games into it. I've thought about buying Weavers, but I have a local who's bought Weavers, so hopefully get a game in with it soon, or on TTS or something. Now,
hey, mate, I'm more than happy to play against you on TTS if you want at some point. We can find the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, we probably can. I'm interviewing Rob on Friday. What's your Saturday? So it'd probably have to be on Saturday. What's your Sunday at the earliest?
Oh yeah, that's fine. We can figure something out. We'll figure it out.
We'll get a TTS game in, and then we can complain about the frustrations of TTS. I actually had to not show a TTS game because it was mostly just us fighting with TTS and playing the game. It was that bad.
Oh mate, it's like when Rob and I played the other day. Because for anybody who's unaware, all of us in Australia live like 13 hours away from each other. Because of the size of our country, and so Rob and I are playing a game, and I think at least once every activation, TTS broke.
Oh man,
so frustrating. We managed to get the game done in 2 hours, but it was, I don't know how, because TTS broke so consistently that it was impressive.
Oh man, it was bad. I think Brian and I were there for like 4 or 5 hours trying to get that game done.
Oh yeah, man! I've definitely had games like that where it's just like, a game that should only take 2-3 hours is suddenly taking like 5 or 6 just because you got to fight so much with the mod.
Yeah, that one's never seen the light of day simply because it's just me screaming at TTS.
Fair and understandable.
Oh, it's just bad when that happens because you're like, oh, here's a TTS game. It's like, guys, the ones you see that you think like, man, TTS sucks. Like those were the good ones.
Yeah, those are the ones where it works.
Yeah. All right. Well, that gets into my next question. What do you do behind the curtain as game design? So we know that Leandros, has evolved from his form as lead game developer into lead project manager. Whatever the fuck that means. Answer that question, then what do you do? I can
easy. So what Leo has done is he's gone from lead game design, where all he did was rules and game design. Now what he does is he handles the entire production process. So once, or basically it's his job is to go, hey, Stavro goes, because Stavro obviously being the founder, goes, I want to do this. And Leo goes, cool, when does it need to be done by? And then he goes, at specific points in time of that period, goes, okay, I need the art done by here, I need this done by here, I need this done by here, I need this. So basically he looks after everything that exists from its inception to its completion.
Oh, so he's just a project manager then.
Basically, yeah. It's his whole scope is just like the product side of things. So anything that is a physical or digital release that we need to do, he looks at it from start to finish, and he obviously has final sign off on and finality on the the rules drops. So like when we do which funnily enough leads into what I help with. So I basically just work part-time for Parabellum. I have like a full daytime job that I do over here in Australia, and then during my spare time, so basically when I finish work, my day job, I work for Parabellum thereafter. I help out with any sort of design stuff that needs to be done, rule stuff that needs to be done, answering emails that come through the rules contact form.
So you've read a lot
going through feedback.
Or a lot of feedback.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So I basically deal with all of that, and then if I don't have a specific project that I have been given, like you need to do this by this, I'll just find something to tinker around with. Like whether it be I'll sit down with like an army list and I'll go through it and I'll find any sort of like gaps in wording or explanations or typos, or I'll just make notes for like future balance passes, being like, hey, this is a thing I've seen someone comment on before, let me make a note of that. So I just have like running spreadsheets for stuff like this. And then also, like, I might just sit down, like I mentioned to you in the pre-show, it's like I sat down one day because I was bored and I rewrote the entire rulebook. And then I punched that through with a legal writer and got that sort of, fixed any wording that was a bit weird there. And so like stuff like that. And that's obviously been passed up the chain through like Leo and Stavro and all that as well. And that's just, sitting there for when we can double check it and, change it, whether we want to treat it as just a rewrite or if we want to make it a new edition is obviously always going to be a discussion. So stuff like that is like there's always stuff in the background, and I'll like I said, I'll work from when I get home to when I go to sleep, which is like 2 a.m. sort of thing, and so I'll just like tinker with stuff, and so it might just be I might just sit down with like Dweg for a day, or I might just flick between 2 or 3 different army lists or core rules or scenario pack or something, or if I've got like a random idea, I might just like start tinkering out like a random idea. And just, put it out there. Like one of the last things that Leo and I did was the campaign pack for Woodrune versus Uroni, which was super fun to write because it's just like the writing the narrative stuff is just like hella fun because it doesn't need to be balanced in the slightest. And so you can do some really cool, fun things in there. I'm really looking forward to people seeing what Wako can do. So Wako is the Uroni character. Murakami Wako. He is a Kappa Oyabun, so he's a Sui Oyabun in the lore, and he's basically Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean.
What the fuck is happening?
He has like a spectral ship that he rides around, and called the Drowned Nell, I think it was. And so yeah, he's just got this like cool like ghost ship that he rides around the plains with, and yeah, it's awesome.
So does he just show up and he's like, "Give me your booty," and he steals everyone's stuff and leaves? Like,
basically, yeah. And then so like the point of like the Veil of, I think it's Veil of Tears. I always get the names confused. I'm pretty sure it's Veil of Tears.
No,
like the big thing with the Veil of
stuff. It is going to be the Veil of Tears.
So yeah, with the actual campaign for like that pack, basically his ship just falls through this rift, and he ends up on the material plane. And he's like, "Hey, this place is pretty cool." And then he wants to open the rift up more so he can summon like the rest of his fleet and more Euroni stuff to come through. And the Wadroon, Naganua, who's the Shadow Hunter, or I think he's the Shadow something, the Shadow that walks or something like that.
Shadow that dances.
Yeah, the dinosaurs tell him that there's some bad touch happening, and so he's trying to stop Wako from opening the rift to let all of his people through. So yeah, it's a super cool little campaign. But yeah, Wako's mad cool. Plus the model looks sick. If anybody hasn't seen it, he's a turtle Oyabun with a big paddle weapon, and he's got a little tortoise on his shoulder because it's awesome.
Instead of a parody as a tortoise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, it's sick.
I already know when that got previewed, and I think it's on the e-store right now. I know
yes, yeah, just went on the e-store in like the last week or so. Yeah,
people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna totally buy this." And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's such a cool model. And yeah, his rules are really fun because, like I mentioned before, is like because it's a narrative, you can kind of do whatever. And so he has a rule which lets, so there's a big component of the campaign is there's a new terrain type, which is it's called dense elemental fog, because basically it's all the fog leaking out from the Euroni's plane into the material plane where Wako fell out. And so there's super dense fog that you can't see through. So it's obstructing terrain. So if you're sitting in the fog, you can't be seen at all. And he has a rule which lets him teleport a unit into a piece of fog. So because it's basically his ghost ship just like yeeting somebody into another piece of fog. There's a limit. You can't end up like touching an enemy or something like that. Like it does have like a distance limit from an enemy, but he can just like bamf a dude into some fog, which is awesome.
No, that's cool.
Mm.
I like picking them up for I do like the custom characters in each of them and a little bit of like the lore booklet. Like I'm not gonna play the narrative stuff, but I'm gonna read it for the lore. Like I like picking them up for that.
Oh yeah, the lore in this one is awesome, and like that's me as well. Like I've seen some of our crew plays the campaigns. I like them purely for like just if you want to play like a fun casual game. Like I've let people be like, yeah, just run, run Frederick in your army. Like who cares? Like it's a casual game. Just slap this like badass character in a list, and they're designed to work with the army. They just have unbalanced rules for the purpose.
I think I picked up Reagan Leaf and I read her rules for the last argument, and I'm like, oh, this breaks a lot of stuff. Like Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Like even the there's a Kitsune Onmiji, like the spellcasting Kitsune, which is she's like the navigator for Wako's ship. And like her rules that we did are insane. Like so yeah, it's like if you brought that in like a competitive environment, like people would be crying. Like that's the sort of like rules level that she has. But because she's meant to be this like crazy powerful character, like that's why it exists. But yeah, like but I haven't played the actual campaigns shy of like reading through them and helping with their like the design and the writing for them. But yeah, like seeing the lore behind it all is what I love the most. Like it's really cool seeing like the way that the campaign can play out.
No, I like it. I'm actually one of the big ones I'm now excited for is the Battle of Nephilim. Like the
Nepenthe?
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Nepenthe. Yeah.
Nepenthe.
Or it might be Nepenthe or something like that. But yeah, it's Nepenthe.
Man. Yeah. You know what? Get Stravos to read the book so that he can like say all the pronunciation for his damn world. Don't make Leo do it. Make Stravos do it, just so he can be like, old man reads book. Everyone shut up, an old man is reading the lore book.
Oh, if he had the time, I'm sure he would love to, but I don't think that'll ever happen.
Dude, that'd be
it could
like
be funny though.
that would be the best stuff ever if he just reads the lore and he's like, "Hello there, I'm the lore guy." Anyway, I want to play this, or not want to play this one. I want to get this one. I want to read it. I want the minis because they look cool. This is the one I'm actually excited for. Like, I also don't play really Euroni or Wadroon, so it's like, that one's not going to grab me as much as other people. But the 100k one sure is.
Plus the Alchemist and Frederick look sick in those. Like, the models that we've done for those are awesome. I'm super happy with those guys. I've got them on my shelf at the moment. I will eventually get around to painting them.
Oh, you already have it? Wow, look at you.
Yes, because it technically released in December.
Yeah, it says the release date is the 31st of December.
It was, I think, stores were allowed to release it on receipt, so it'll depend on if you got it from a store. They could have given it to you whenever it arrived. But I've had mine on my shelf for a couple of weeks, so yeah.
So I know in my local store the big battle box is there with the Battle Nepenthe. Nepenthe. But that's what I'm like. No, I don't want. I want the little one. Please don't do this to me. I don't want to buy all these guys.
Yeah, I just have the little one. I don't need 2 more armies. So I just have the little box with my 2 characters and my lore book.
Oh god. No, that's cool. I don't know. What else do you want to talk about? What are you excited for in Conquest? Because I'm kind of hitting the limit of my questions here because we talked about what you do.
I mean, that alone's a good question. So I am very much looking forward to when we can get new tournament packs out. Sorry. So when a new tournament pack comes out and when we do whatever the core rules end up being, whether it's a rewrite or a new edition, whatever that ends up being. Super pumped for both of those things because we've been sitting on the same tournament pack for a couple of years now. So we definitely need new missions, new ways to play, new scoring because to make all the missions score roughly the same points. Or actually score the same points. Either is fine. As long as it's not, the discrepancy we have at the moment, which is like melee at like 160 points and maelstrom at like 30. So having those having new missions, new way to play, plus having the core rules revamped, redone, reworked, whatever that ends up being. Super pumped for that because one of the big things that I love about the game is just that it's a fun game to play, but the onboarding for people can be tough because there's a lot of just like old writing in the core rules. And so that just needs to be brought up to date, fixed, and we just need like this big cohesive like syntax update across the game, which is a thing that I've been doing in the background, like I mentioned before. So super pumped for that. The Faction 11 will be fun when people see that. I'm just pumped to play just more of the game in general. I've been back on my city states.
For Faction 11? Is there something you want to share that you think's cool about it? That doesn't reveal too much because you won't give us the name.
It is going to have. I won't give you the name, and I won't give you anything that will sort of give away what it is either. It is going to have a very, very interesting way to interact with the reinforcement system.
Ooh, so it's Han.
So it's that should be fun. It's gonna have a different way to basically play with your reinforcements, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Especially when it like gets into like the broader, like it's always fun seeing like playtesters and like us play it, but like when it gets into the broader public's hands, that's always the fun moment because you see hundreds, thousands of people playing the game like differently all of a sudden to how it was tested because everybody's different. So getting all that feedback is always fun, and seeing like people's reactions is always great too. So that'll be good. My understanding is, and obviously subject to change because everything in the schedule can be a little bit, but my understanding is that Faction 11 won't release until the end of 2026.
So is the Faction release changing to end of year instead of beginning of year? Just because like, we had Euroni and Weavers in the same year, what was quite a bit, to be honest. I know for a lot of people's wallets and just a lot of new stuff coming. But I also like talking to Stravos and why Weavers got released that year is simply because like he got the artist back for who did Spires, all the original work for Spires, because like from my understanding, he was hired out for contract, did his job, got paid, and then Stravos was like, "Oh, hey, we want to do Weavers." He's like, "I'm busy with other projects," and he's like, damn, when you free? And he's like, "Probably in a couple years." And he's like, "All right, see you then."
And that's it. Yeah, so Weaver Courts hit this year because they were at a point where they could actually release.
You got art,
which was really good,
and
because we had art, we had models. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, so I don't know if moving forward, from now until the end of time, sort of thing, whether each new faction will be the end of the year. I just know that next year, my understanding is that Faction 11 is end of year.
Okay. Well, it's a good choice to do that just to give everyone a break, because I feel if you guys did
100%.
Faction 11 at a
realistically,
just like, oh my god, please kill me, this is way too much.
Yeah, like realistically, you've still, Euroni are still brand new, and Weaver Courts are definitely brand new. So people going into 2026 still have 2 new armies they can collect. And that's not including the fact that nearly every faction that I can think of is getting something next year as well.
Ooh.
So there's a little bit of wiggle room, and some things might get pushed to, say, early 27, but most factions will have something new in 2026.
Is the Volva Warlord going to have her warband expanded upon instead of 3 mortal mainstays?
Possibly.
Oh, okay, Mr. Riddles McGee over here. The fucking Sphinx.
Quite possibly, yes.
Oh.
No, there's we definitely want to mess around a little bit with the Nord's warbands, and their supremacies as well, because obviously like the Conan gear needs like a revamp on its supremacy.
Jarl needs a supremacy.
So like the supremacies for Nords are on the list, and there's obviously always the potential that that warbands will change and new shiny things will happen.
Okay, and now sorry for interrupting you, but what was it that you were excited for Conquest into the future or currently?
I am super excited for anything to do with City States, purely because it is my baby. Like it's the faction that I always wanted, and it exists, and I love it. So anything City States, I'm super pumped for. But also being a massive weeb, there is some stuff for Euroni that I like. I can't wait for people to see the models for Shikigami.
Those little devil or not, like the death guys, right? They're
I
watched
like
Death Note, so I know what they are. Like they're the death guys.
Yeah, they're little gremlins. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm super keen for people to see those models. Those models are awesome. But there's some cool. There's one other cool new model for Euroni that comes out 26 that I'm super pumped for people to see, just because it's like mind-blowingly amazing. So yeah, I'm super pumped for that.
I'm excited. So do you do anything for First Blood, or is that another department?
Not so much another department. The Jays that have come on board with rules, with our rules and game design, at the end of this year, 2025. They've been handling that. I have obviously vision of the project and what's going on there, but they've mostly been dealing with that while I sort of just hold the fort on TLOK with Leo, while they obviously are basically building a brand new game. Yeah, because the new edition of First Blood is going to be very, very different to the previous editions, and
I think that's good. I also I like that Conquest has a skirmish game, but I just remember every time I've looked at First Blood, I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to play this. This is not my cup of tea. And
that's the thing, right? It's for me, I play First Blood on occasion. I've got some of our local community that like to play it, so I'll get a game with them. But for me, if I'm looking at a skirmish game, I'll play. I've got 3 or 4 other games on my shelf that I can probably play at the same, in place of it. Yeah. But the new, having said that, the new edition of First Blood will be a lot of fun for people to play, and I'm super keen for people to actually see that when it hits live, because I think it will actually get people who haven't played it before, who do play TLOK, to have a look at First Blood and play it as just this quick skirmish. Well, it's not so much skirmish because you're still using 20, 30 models. It's it's like it's probably more in line with like War Machine, like model count, if that makes sense, right?
Oh, don't say that, because I had a War Machine list that deployed from one end of the table to the other and had
you're one of those guys.
1 point per model on my list. I played 73 models at a 75-point list army. I was like,
you're a madman.
Let's go.
So, but not quite that bad. But you're looking at like it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not quite skirmish, because when people hear skirmish, they think of like 10 models sort of thing. But it's more like a small size, like a medium sized warband game where you're playing like say 20, 30 models sort of thing.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, which is fine. And I think it'd be really cool. So I'm super keen for that to come out and to see people play that. Because it's going to be that push that First Blood needs to be like something new and something fresh, and something that's like fun to play with, like just like slap some Conquest models on a table and away you go.
Yeah, because like I know First Blood has kind of gone in waves of like, is it good? Is it fun? Blah 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 blah. How does it play? And it's just like the last argument is the main game, and like people play it because they want to play a rank and file game that's
exactly
either not GW or has better rules than GW.
Exactly, yeah, and that's exactly right. So it's just like, it's another game. I mean, we can like, I'm happy to take any sort of like fall from my opinion on it, but it's like, it's First Blood was sort of released as just like another way to play the Conquest models. So it'd be really good to actually see that become a full-on fledged game with like, continuing support for people to play.
Yeah. Also, like, if it evolves to the point that, like, you get a 60-person tournament at Adepticon of First Blood, like, that's going to be huge for First Blood.
Like, exactly right.
Adepticon having 60-plus players showing up, like, being that large event, really just shows people, like, hey, this is a game. People are playing it. People are attending large events with it. It shows a lot of growth in, like, a healthy community as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I'm glad. And I'm also, like, recently with tournaments seeing, like, there's Amulet D20 and, what is it? The German event. It had a name, but I completely forgot what it was. But, like, both those events had, like, 40 to 50 players in it and got, like, international recognition and also, like, looking at from various players, even who weren't there, to, like, what's going on? What are the lists? Blah, 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 blah. Like, interest. What's always good to see, especially the community of Conquest growing internationally.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a big thing as well, right? It's like the last year, 2 years, the game has been growing a lot, and it's really good to see. Like, I've obviously been to the 2 Heos that we've had, and seeing just different people each year. I mean, excluding Carl. Gotta
get the
like,
Carl tag in there.
Yeah, exactly. So, but no, it's like seeing like the last year we had a couple of us from Australia, a couple from Singapore, and then like this year we had like a couple people from Spain and the guys from Germany, which weren't there the first year. So it was really cool seeing just like more regions pop up and be part of here, which means they're running the world events, which means people are coming and playing in those, which is really good.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I hope to see more. Like, to be honest, I hope to go again this year or this season or whatever you want to call it. And I also hope to see more people show up. They're like, after going, I understand why the size of the tournament can't really increase to 32 just because of the location.
Yeah, the infrastructure on Heos isn't great.
No, it's beautiful. It's lovely once you get there, and it's awesome. Yeah. It's nice, and it's like super relaxed, and like the most intense games ever. And then it goes immediately back to super relaxed, like win or lose.
Yeah. Imagine if we had 32 players, and now you've got like 60 odd people that are just rocking up there, and like, oh god.
Yeah, because everyone's gonna bring their like spouse or partners or whatever. Like the couples are gonna come, so. You basically got to double the amount, and then all the Parabellum staff.
Yep, yeah, there's a lot of people you need to accommodate for, and like this year, actually the last 2 Heos, we've basically booked out all the accommodation right near the event, which means if we expanded it and add more people, you now need people like booking accommodation like back into town, which that's a bit of a trip in and out of.
Yeah, jeez.
Especially for like the big days, like starts fairly early if you want to get up with everybody and just have a chat, and brekkie and that, and then obviously. And then runs super late. Like by the time you've had dinner, gotten back from dinner, and like vegged out, like it's pretty late. So yeah, it'd be big days and big travels for everybody.
Yeah, it's there's a bit of me that like if I go next year, I want to like arrive a day earlier and be like, just put me up a day earlier, please. Just let me hang out. I don't want to have travel problems like I did this year. Oh my god! I literally thought like we weren't gonna make it. We're gonna show up at like 2 the next day. I was like, "Fuck!" I'm annoyed.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, it was getting rough there. It's beautiful, but like, yeah, if they do want to expand it, they'll have to take it off the island. Sadly.
Yeah, it'll have to be somewhere else, or there'll have to be other concessions made somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Woo! Damn, Hios, you crazy.
Nah, Heroes is great. Yeah, for anybody who like plays Conquest and like please give it a shot. Like try and rack up points and come, because it's such a fun event.
Yeah, I like it's something you're never gonna do probably in your life ever again, is to just basically hit up like a retreat for wargaming. I don't think there's very many of them. I know there's one in Salt Lake City where they rent out this massive cabin in the mountains, and like you can get there, but like the price for that is like quite insane. Like they're doing like 500. I think it was 250 minimum for a ticket, and that was you getting a shared bunk bed room with like 4 to 8 other people, was for $250 for like a weekend war game retreat. And it's like that's pretty crazy, and that's in like Salt Lake. So Hios, like, you just need to get there, to be honest. So the price of flights is going to be higher than $250, and also if you've lived in the United States. But yeah, I can't sing its praise more for like what it is and what it's doing. I truly loved it. It's amazing.
And, yeah. Oh, dude, I've been both years. It's so much fun. It's really good, just like catching up with like people that you can only ever talk to online otherwise. And just like having it, and the one of the best parts is just like being able to just like talk to PB staff.
Yeah,
it's just like so much fun.
PB staff.
Yep, exactly.
Like it's drinking alcohol, getting rowdy at like midnight. Bring more beer. Fuck, I can't believe we ran out of beer. I can't believe. Was that a thing? Was that a lessons learned for Hios from this year? Need more.
Must have been. I mean, to be fair, I think last year we had a lot of people that didn't drink beer, because it was like we went through like soft drink and water and all that, and the odd beer obviously as well. But then I think like this year there was because obviously we had like 4 or 5 extra people that we didn't have last year. And so, I think everyone was like, "Oh, these guys all drink beer."
That stupid thing I did where I grabbed beer and brought it to the table during the round table, because I was like, I'm not getting up. You kidding me? And it's like, we
all need these.
By the Australian and the Brit. Oh, hey guys, you want to be friends? we're gonna find out which country drinks the most. I'm glad we were at like one end of the table away from the discussion, as we just kept drinking and getting rowdy.
Probably safer for everybody else involved.
Oh, we were not helping after like 20 minutes in. This was bad. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I don't know. That's kind of for me. Like, I know probably like not public facing you and I will chat a bunch anyway, because it's like we can talk about the secrets of Conquest. But public facing, it's like, okay, here we go.
There's only so much without diving too far under the hood, and then I don't know if I'll have a SWAT team come through a window. So
yeah, it's just Stavros himself being like, You didn't break anything except reveal my super secret lore that I was hiding. You released Faction 11, that was the Han, or the Huns, or whatever they're called. They have guns made out of dragon poop.
Yeah. I'm most looking forward to Helheim again,
Same.
Norse mythology, and the fact that it's Nidhogg, Hela, and the three dwarves. I'm like, I'm in. That's my kind of stuff right there.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. Man, I've been waiting for that. I'm like, man, Sorcerer Kings is stupid. It won out because it's like had better art. I'm like, no, fuck this faction.
Dude, I'm pumped for Hell. I'm so pumped for Hell. They are the next faction for me. Got my Weavers, got my City States. The next faction I'll actively collect will be Helheim.
I'll mostly do the same. Like, I'm playing Dweghome right now just because like it got that update. I had the minis. I felt like I took Nord to the absolute limit of what it could actually do. And I'm kind of like, all right, you lost the Raider captain, slight scoring. You're sadly competitively dead in the water for me. I can't push you anymore. By the way, if you're listening to this and be like, Nord's is dead, it's not dead. You can play it absolutely fine. There's still ways to play it. Taking it to its absolute highest level to like compete with a lot of stuff, like I don't believe I can currently do it. If you're another player who believes they can, go right ahead. You're more than welcome to.
It's one of the it's a faction that has some very sort of like at the moment people have hit like the limits I think of what they find competitive. Mm-hmm. There's probably some little things in there that can change and adjust to maybe like shake it up and add some more list variety. But I think for the most part, there's just a lot of it's limited to your supremacies, right? Like you're basically running Shaman, Volva, Warlord, like that's it. Yeah. And so like once there's more, and also because the missions have all been the same, like for a couple of years, like once like if there's a new mission pack. Nords as they are might just change inherently because of the way that they need to play the new missions. Otherwise, it'll be when Nord supremacies get a bit of a look at, and that might create new paths for this list all of a sudden works.
You know what?
Because my conning gear does this magic thing over here. Like, yeah.
Okay, you know what? I don't know if you're allowed to do this, but like, what's something good? What's something good about each of the factions that you like as the developer, and what's something you want to like work on to make it better or fix a problem in each of the factions? Go. Start with 100K. Let's go. Let's put them on the ropes, boys.
I'll skip Spires for obvious reasons because they're getting reworked. 100 Kingdoms, I love where 100 Kingdoms are at the moment. I actually can't think of anything that I would do to 100 Kingdoms apart from like small number changes. And maybe like the odd special rule here and there just for flavor.
So it's it's just generalist, like bring them up a little more, like tweak. They're tweaking.
Yeah, I think as a generalist comment, the 100 Kingdoms where they are now are very, very good. They have some really good list diversity. They have some really good combos. They have some really good play styles. And the only thing I would do is just like look at some units that maybe aren't taken much or if ever, and just like tweak them a little bit. And that's really it that I can think of for 100K. Skip Spires. Dweghome, I think at the moment we're still waiting for Dweghome to shake out a little bit. I think overall I love where the faction is. I like that I've seen odd lists, tempered lists, and the odd clan lists. So the fact that the sub factions are being played is really cool. There's obviously some overperforming stuff, like things like Steelforged,
or the War Crimes caster.
Yeah, so like there's a few things that'll probably need to come down there, and obviously there's some wording updates to fix some weird not so much like jankiness, but some weird like just like no, what's what I'm looking for. Some things that don't actually work the way they're written, so they need to be updated a little bit there. So I think overall, Dweghome wise, I need to keep a bit of a close eye on clans to see if more needs to be done there. They obviously have a play, but I don't know if they have as much of a play as say Tempered or Ardent.
I need to play Ardent. I'm just not as interested in them compared to like Tempered or Clans. That just might be a
that's fair.
thing.
That's it. It was like Monty just plays Clans and Ardent. So like he's barely touched Tempered ever, and then I've got another mate who just plays Tempered. So like it's it's going to be. I like that about Dweg. I like that now you have these flavors that people can lean into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for the most part, Dweg's still shaking out a little bit after the rework to see where they need to go overall. But I think as a general rule, I think they're okay. Like with everywhere. Nords, love Nords, but obviously we've mentioned a couple times already, supremacies need to be looked at.
Warbands, I feel, also need another look at, and like
exactly, yeah. So like warbands and supremacies, and like tweaking some numbers here and there, and some rules here and there, just to make some things have a bit more of a play. But I think the faction itself is very good. It's very good casually, it's very good competitively, but like we said just before, it's like they can feel a little bit stale competitively just due to like the things that you kind of like either have to build or the things that you're sort of restricted to building.
Yeah.
So so I think I like Nord's really good, but obviously need some work. Wadroon, I like Wadroon. I think Wadroon are really good at the moment.
Even like Cults Wadroon, what I think needs a little bit more expanded. Like, was it Famine? Cult of Famine? Like when they come out, probably like smoothing it out a lot if you just want to like go full cults.
Yeah, because now you have access to all of your cult units, right? Yeah.
There's a bit of me what's like make the Famine guys light, so you have like, you know, a light, double medium, and a heavy. So if you do want to run all cults, you can do it, and you have a nice curve.
And that's the thing, right? It's like it's just finding. Yeah, and so I think Wadroon, as they are, really good. I've seen some really cool lists with Wadroon. Ewan's run Air Force One. Monty's run Double Tontor. I've seen other people play like just Monty as well plays like pure Warbred. Like and the lists always play really well. So I think the faction as it is now is really good after the rework. And they'll just again, they just need a few like little things here and there, and the odd update here and there, just to change things up. Old Dominion, they a little bit of an identity crisis at the moment. The faction itself is good, but now it's kind of hitting a point where it's probably going to hit a rework sooner rather than later, just to sort of revamp the faction, and like hit a few key points, like from a play point. Old Dominion can be a real NPE for new players, because they ignore resolve. So they're just like new players are just like, what is going on?
It's a not understanding how to deal with them. Like either you need to bring guns, you need to bring magic, you need to commit 2 regiments per their one to kill it.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're not doing that, you're not beating Old Dominion. And then it becomes, can the Old Dominion player prevent that? And can they get to like tier 2, tier 3 quick enough before you take enough stuff from them? Exactly.
So Old Dominion will probably be one of the next factions that gets a rework, if anything, just to give them a bit like one. They're now the oldest faction from the design point of view.
Yeah. Except for Spies.
So, Spies don't count because they're like weeks away from their update. They're fine.
I was like, there are people who like nitpick, and I'm like, please stop.
So Old Dominion will probably get I think Old Dominion are very good. Like the games I've played into Old Dominion have been like great games. Like the army still plays very well, and it can play really high level. But it's just it has that like weird issue where it can be a real MPE for players coming into the game. If like, hey, here's my first game and I'm playing like say Nords versus Old Dominion, and it's awful.
It's a matchup, like especially if you have no idea what you're doing or you have a list designed to deal
exactly
with it.
Right. So like and so you need to like these are things that we like just need to be covered with. Not so much changes to any other army, but changes just to Old Dominion itself to make them a little bit more easier, more of like a soft curve instead of like a hard curve for people playing into them. City states. I love city states. I think at the moment they are still in a very good spot. There's obviously some things in the army list that aren't great, and some things in the army list that are very good. And so, I mean, obviously, like Chariot is still very much a thing that exists and can be seen as a
unit.
Yeah, exactly right. It can be seen as a bit of a crutch. I've played lists without chariots and the army still functions, but obviously you just feel like you're gimping yourself for no reason. And I was mostly doing it just to see if the faction still worked without them. And it's like, I would still much rather run them, but I was just testing a theory.
Well, we know they work without them because Ben won Adepticon with them with 4 units.
Exactly. So, but no, I think CS are great. Obviously, they along with Old Dominion will probably come up for a rework at some point.
They don't have sub-faction tags like a lot of the other factions now do.
Well, and that's easy. So, Old Dominion and City States are the only two factions now that are missing battlefield roles. So, whether there will be a battlefield role update and they will just be rolled in for now, or whether the factions will wait until they actually receive a rework, one of those two things will happen.
Like I've talked to 8 Chariot Kyle, who's got Polar Gaming plus Painting YouTube channel. You know, check out his stuff. Like, we went through the faction because I was trolling him with his YouTube videos for list critiques, and I just realized that, like, to build a competitive city-states list that can handle a lot of stuff, you're really hammered into, like, Loriketes, Phalangites, and Chariots. Like, you have to take those to deal with, like, the other factions at their top end. So, like, you really limits list design.
You have to have a brick of either Phalangites or Hoplites if you want to run Hoplites instead of Phalangites, but the Phalangites are obviously better offensively and can also neuter impact-heavy armies like Orders. And then your Thorakites are obviously super cheap but super effective when you slap an auxiliary in them. And then your chariots, like I said, your chariots are just they're an everything tool. They're fast, they shoot, they can get you on scoring real quick because of Vanguard. And yeah, so like they're and like I said, like they're obviously the overperforming stuff, or the general you must run this sort of stuff. And then you got things like you can run Comp Cav because Comp Cav are good.
Oh, they are.
You can run Inquisitors. Right. Inquisitors because Inquisitors are great. The Titans are obviously good, but then you got things like the Seleni and the Satiri, Argema, which you can sort of like, you know, give or take. Clockworks as well, you can give or take depending if you're running or if you're leaning more into them. So yeah, there's just like different, and that's the thing, right? Is like when a battlefield role update or a rework happens for city states, those things will be explored because that's what we've done with every other faction. And it also gives us a chance to sort of just like revamp things and get them to the new sort of like design point. But yeah, no, I love city states. I'll always love them. I'll always find a way to play them and play them fairly effectively. I'm not some god tier competitive gamer, but I can play the game.
I'm good enough.
I'm good enough.
Yeah. The hero we do not need, but here he is.
Sorcerer Kings. I like what Sorcerer Kings are at the moment.
I have comments.
There is obviously some glaring NPEs that can occur. Court of Mud is especially one.
Court of Mud in the colon cleaner.
Yep. So, Court of Mud is an experience and is super rough, and that is something that we definitely have on the list for being updated and changed. The ritual system, I think, is finally in a good spot. The rituals themselves,
they might need another look
obviously need some kind of balance or balance pass just to make sure that they're all okay and they're working. But I think as a faction itself, it works well. There's some pieces that are probably like
the Maharaja, still down a bit. Like supremacy might have to change just to open it up for the rest of them. Like that's the thing. Has I've seen some supremacy, but it's just override by how much better the Maharajas is.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I think the issue is that lore-wise and rules-wise, it makes sense for the Maha to be what it is, but obviously it does start to lean a little bit to like an auto take. I've seen some Raj lists do okay. I've seen some Sorcerer lists do okay, but like the Maharaja obviously gives you more access to tools, right? So that'll probably just be like at some point a supremacy pass, and that'll probably fix that up.
Do they have battlefield rules?
Yes, yeah, they do.
Is it the elemental? Is like each of the court is its battlefield?
It's basically just their courts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And then mortals exist as well.
They're in there.
And then they're in there. And then you've got what's after sorcery? You've got Uroni next. Uroni is sick. There's obviously there's the spider issue, which is definitely a problem. Otherwise, I think the faction probably is fine.
I agree. Like after the big block change from Tenacious 2 to Tenacious 1 helped out a lot.
Yep.
And now it's just like, oh, now we gotta run spider. Oh god.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is like the spiders are good, but they're very good for their points. So like even just a point increase on the spiders probably fixes a lot of the problem, but it doesn't fix the entire problem. So that the like realistically, the only issues that I have with Uroni are spiders, and then obviously Sui needs a bit of a look because it's kind of just like an ideal that exists, less so than an ideal that has a purpose. Because its purpose is to be adaptable, but it doesn't really let you do that. So that's a thing that that we'll check. We'll figure out at some point. So that's Uroni, and then we've got Weaver Courts, which I think Weaver Courts are fine. They're obviously the newest faction, and they haven't had a balance pass at all. So there's definitely some stuff like a lot of numbers and rules changes that'll probably get tested and tweaked. But I think overall, as a faction, it's in a very good spot. You can play it super competitively, and it'll actually like hold up. And you can play it casually and it doesn't feel like a massive NPE, which I think is a really good spot. So there's obviously just some bits and pieces in the faction that just need some tweaking up and down, like scale dances, like I mentioned earlier, coming up, Gallow Glass obviously going down, and just to give the army a bit more of a broad pass, because I see a lot of comments at the moment where it's like, well, the army can't play until Gallow Glass release, which isn't correct. I can see how people can see that because Gallow Glass are very good, but the army still plays very effectively at the moment with access to things like your Drakes, your Gem Red, and even just like your Moths and stuff.
Yeah.
But then obviously the Gallow Glass, as they are very, very good, and so they will definitely get a tone down because they definitely haven't been brought to where the rest of the dock is. They're still living in testing land without their final pass, and so when the next balance pass comes through for Weavers, they will get a bit of a nerf because they're bonkers for what they are.
I agree with you there, but yeah, I also agree. Like Weavers, like court's still out for that one, just simply because there's not enough data. There's not enough.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
and like
that's why a lot of the list of things for the update that happens for Weavers is just like small number tweaks here and there, and the odd special rule, just because it's like, hey, this thing like scale dances, like they need this a little bit more to make them different and stand out. Especially with like Scarha Hunters about to release. So, and then you got like Gallow Glass, where it's like Gallow Glass are just like super cheap for this massive melee powerhouse. So it's like, they need to come down because like they need to be more comparable to Gem Red, where Gem Red are your shock cav, and so Gallow Glass need to be your melee equivalent of that, but they're just outperforming them because of the stat line that the Gallow Glass have.
Yeah, and like we've kind of like, I know you and I and Saxon have talked about Weavers of like where they're currently just like spam trash, just like all the cheap shit, get to 1 billion cards and just kind of like pepper people to death with Moths and you should be fine. And that's kind of what they've been doing, and that's how you play.
It's a super playable style. Another one you can do is you can run like Triple Dragon, where you run like double Skydra and the single Coil Draw with a Rider. And that list is super effective, and you can still fit in like a bunch of Moths, Wisps, and Kerns. And that's honestly one of the best parts about Weavers, is like I mentioned before, is like because everything is fairly cheap and it's all effective, you just basically just tweak the numbers of how many of each thing you want, and you're good to go.
I'm interested in Weavers, but for myself personally, I'm gonna wait a little bit until more stuff comes out, and also because a local is playing it, so I'm not gonna like step on his shoes. Like that's rude. And also like I'm just dipping into Dweg Home. So having fun there, just spamming the good stuff. No,
Yeah, Dwayne are great.
love me some Dwight. But also for the listener, the developers hear you. They understand and are working at it and can actually analyze and show that, yes, they also see the same problems you are seeing.
Correct. That is a thing that I spend a lot of my day doing.
Yes, I am
Is just
glad.
trawling through the Discord and seeing what people say. Anything that gets submitted via the rules contact form as well gets read by us. Whether it's like, if it's a question, it'll get replied to and answered, or it'll go into an FAQ. Or if it's just feedback, it gets correlated with the rest of the feedback. And then when we get to there, we get to there.
Can I send you virus links through the rules FAQ?
You wouldn't be the first one that tries.
Oh my
god! there's a lot of random guff that comes through that contact form sometimes. So yeah, but no, it's very much a. I'm super active on the Discord for that reason, where I can keep an eye on what people think, and that way I can make a note of it. And when it comes time to look at that, we can have a look at it and go from there.
Okay, well now I'm going to ask you the real hard question here. Monster Mash. Are you allowed to comment on that?
At a personal level, I don't like Monster Mash.
Okay.
I understand why it exists in games, and I'm talking not just from Conquest, but just games in general, like Imperial Knights in 40k and the Behemoths in Age of Sigmar and stuff like that. I understand why it exists, because it's cool to have an army of just big monsters. I don't, but again, this is all just personal opinion, I don't like it because the game needs to change to accommodate for them. Because you now have an army of, say, 5 models that needs to perform as well as an army with 100 models. Monster Mash is definitely a thing that exists, and while we try and make our monsters not crazy insane, obviously there are some that are very, very good, and so when you run multiples of the very, very good thing, it can be very, very, very good. There has been discussion in the past of, obviously, First Blood has a degrading profile for monsters, whether we bring that into TLAOK. That may or may not happen, but it is something that we are keeping an eye on, which is, Monster Mash. They're big fancy models, which is cool. It's cool to see them all on the table, but also it can be an absolute nightmare for an opponent if they don't have a list that is designed for Monster Mash.
Yeah, because you kind of have to fight it differently than your more classic rank and spank battles you tend to do in Conquest. Simply because, one of the things is, their base size changes how they play and how you play into them. Because you can just jam 5 monsters into one section of the field that would normally have 2 regiments. Okay, well now you can force concentrate a lot more than 2 regiments out of these 5 monsters and still have the same amount of space. And it's like, okay, if I touch one monster, I lock it down, but the other 3 to 4 are going to hit me back.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely something we're keeping an eye on. But it's one of those things where it's going to require core rules changes compared to just tweaking monsters.
Yeah,
because the problem is if you tweak just the monsters, they either just go back to a 1 of or a 2 of, or you tweak them the wrong way, and now it's like your whole army is just monsters.
Well, we've been kind of seeing that with the bird list, the bird spam from the Ladroon Quaddles, the spiders, and with Euroni. Don't get me wrong, I tried it with Nords. I think Nord's Monster Mash with the Mountain Jotnar is the worst, simply because a lot of these other monsters are getting a free additional action somewhere. So they're getting
because a lot of the big fancy monsters have something special about them. Whereas with Nords, their special ones are the Sea Jotnar and the Ice Jotnar, being the wizard and the sniper. Sniper's the wrong word, but the shooter. Yeah. And yes, whereas you're comparing say a Mountain Jotnar to a Rakshasa, or a Quaddle, exactly, and they're very different things, but they're pointed very similarly, and so at that point you're just hang on, shouldn't this be comparable? But it makes it a bit difficult, right? But it's just the Monster Mash will require core adjustments, and that's still a thing that's obviously on the list for if and when.
When you guys have time.
Yeah,
it seems
and
like
also
a lot
it's also just like it's just data as well, right? Is like making sure that you accommodate for every sort of like monster mash list that can perform, and make sure you don't just completely faff it and ruin the monster for everybody. So sometimes it's a fun little line that needs to be danced to make sure it doesn't break.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I know when the Thorakeeter and the Sepulchre came out, because
the Kaitor and the Unhallowed Sepulchre. Yep.
Yeah, the things I said correctly the first time.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I heard you.
Okay, sounds good. Because I know when those guys got released and came out, and people were looking at lists, because they came out in the middle of the summer, like a month before Heos. And they got changed like 3 times before they were actually released, what I think put like a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Because I know it was like one person was like, well, if I just like get 6 of these, I can just like sit on zones. And it's like, this is bad. This is not okay.
Yeah. It's one of the things
like I'm not here to like shit on Conquest. Like, remember, we're doing the podcast because we love the game and want to talk about it. But it's like also this is public knowledge of this happened. This isn't like behind the curtain.
Yeah, no, it was a case of it was tested and it released, but it's one of those things where you can only test something so much with a limited group, and then when thousands of people get hold of it and you can see the things that were missed, then they need to be fixed. And so yeah, that was kind of just what happened with those models. Is like they were tested. It's like they got to a certain point, and then the rules went live. They obviously not every avenue had been explored, and so that needed to be fixed. It was probably too heavy-handed one way, and then we needed to accommodate for the fact that Heo was happening, and so you need to allow for that. And so yeah, it was just one of the fun things of the background effects of like this needs to release on this day. And yeah, it's a time thing, right?
Yeah, and that was a little rough. I'm glad you guys got through it, and mostly people just grab a Thorakeeter in each of their lists, and it's like, all right, here's this.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's they're super cool models, and again, it's like one of the benefits is like the rule set's a living rule set, so even if it doesn't work for now, at some point it'll get looked at and it'll work. And so it's annoying when obviously if it doesn't work off the bat, or if it's just like crazy insane off the bat, then that's something we don't like having happen either. But sometimes it will, just because of it might be time, it might be the way it was tested, who knows. But yeah, so it's always a fun time, and seeing the knee-jerk reaction feedback is always as good as someone's well thought out feedback. So yeah, it's always something that'll be there.
Did I want to spend $1,500 to win Heos with 2 Thorakeeters and 4 Sepulchres? Damn straight I did.
How quickly can I paint these models?
Oh, yep, we have seen how quickly I could paint those models. That would have been done in not even an afternoon.
My eyes still bleed.
Good. That's when I actually tried.
That's terrifying.
Have you not seen my Gleg home?
I haven't, and I feel like I want to keep it that way with this comment.
This poor man.
All right, just send it to me in the background, and we'll
keep talking. But when the screaming starts, everyone knows why. I'm trying to find my collections before I keep this stuff. Oh, there it is. Yeah. No, I'm like, I do like Monster Mash as once again as the concept, but like playing into it at times, I'm just like, oh, how about I just go fuck myself?
Yeah, and that's the problem, right? It's like if you don't have a list built for it, it can just be an awful time.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to bring up or you want to talk about? You're an adult. You get to make choices.
I don't know. You kind of asked me all the questions that I had thought of, or I had thought I would encounter. Oh god, I have seen these Dweg before. those are yours. What did you do? Did you just drop them in a bucket?
There's a video on it. I can send you the video.
Oh god.
You want the video?
It just looks like a paint bucket fell on them. Like I'll watch the video at some point. But no, one of the big things is one of the big things I just want to say to anybody who does listen is like, it's like, we all love this game. I am more than happy to listen to any and all feedback, and anything you guys send through the rules contact form, I get to see. So I love seeing that shit. Like, I can talk about this game all day, every day. Like, that's how much I love Conquest. I've played it that much that it's just live and breathe, right? And I appreciate when people can, if people spend the time to sit down and type up some feedback or something and send it through, because it's like, it shows that you care about the game too, which is awesome, because that's what we want. We want a bunch of people who like love this game to play this game. So yeah, like, it's like the one big takeaway I want to give is like, anything you say is taken into account. Obviously, with there's air quotes around that, which is, if you just say something shit, then sure, I'll put it down. I'll put it on a list, but it's not going to have as much sway as Jimmy Bob coming to me going, "Hey, I played this unit and it didn't do this and this, which I thought it would because of this reason, and this is why it didn't." Like, that feedback is way more approachable for me to look at than someone just saying this is rubbish and then just full stop, send, done, because it doesn't give me any idea of what the problem is, like what you, even just like your thoughts on like what could be a change. I'm open to stuff like that, because the best thing about Conquest is the living rule set, and we don't have to wait 5-6 years for a $120 book to come out. So stuff like that is really easy for us to go, okay, cool, like, this doesn't work, this is why, and it can go on the list, and the next time we do an update, we can just approach it, as part of that pass, and away we go. And it might fix something that was completely broken, or it might bring a unit that nobody was buying onto the table, which would be really cool to see.
Yeah, like,
so yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, like, any feedback is good feedback, but obviously constructive feedback is better.
Have like a proper cohesive paragraph consensus at the end of like who, what, where, when, why of it probably would help you a lot, instead of this is bad, I don't like it, man.
Yeah, which and to be fair, like I said, even people sending me an email being like, this is rubbish, is fine, because I can put it on a list. Like, if someone goes, hey, Clockwork Hoplites are shit, I go, okay, cool, I'll put it on a list. And then I'll keep an eye on Clockwork Hoplites, and I'll keep an eye on lists that come through from events and game days and people talking. And I'm like, well, okay, people are still running Clockwork Hoplites, which means they're probably not as shit as this comment. So what could the problem be? And then we can go from there. But obviously that requires a lot of time being like, then reading between the lines. Whereas if you go, this is rubbish for this reason, this is why, and this is what could fix it, I can go, okay, cool, this is way better, and I can look at it from there.
Because like Clockwork Hoplites used to be a heavy, and you had to take a supremacy to make them medium where they should be, and changing that helped them a lot. Now it's just like, why do you not take Clockwork Hoplites? Oh, because the Mechanist is bad.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, that's a different problem. Why not taking Clockwork Hoplites is because the Mechanist is bad, and there's just better options in the faction. Oh, that's actually helpful advice. How can we change the Mechanist now? Oh, I don't know. To be honest, I don't like giving the, you should change it like this, because that's my opinion. Simply because, like, I find the player base is good at finding problems, not finding solutions. Because I've seen the solutions, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and that's it. So, like, if anything, the one thing that I want to pass on from this is just submit feedback, because that'll just make the game better, some way, shape, or form. It'll work, and then we can all play a better game of Conquest.
I do love a better game of Conquest. All right, should we end it there?
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for having me on, dude. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking about you as a person, you as a developer, you as a big brother of the Conquest Discord, watching over everybody.
The guy in the eye in the sky.
Yeah, we're going to start doing some thought crimes later. Is there anything you want to plug at the end? Is there anything you want to let people
I mean,
know about?
The only thing I can plug really is VGG, so Vanguard Garage Gaming. Not that there's been an episode for a while, but if there's anything, like if you want to go back and listen to some of our older stuff, like it's still there, it exists. And then like obviously this mass guy does this other thing called BonkTable, which is okay, I guess. But that's really it, man. Like I'm super chill. Otherwise, I don't have anything else to really commit to the Conquest community other than what I do in the background. So that's it.
He's the man under the hood.
That's it.
Yeah,
the one who snuck in and never got out.
Yeah. You can't get rid of him. Oh, well,
holding on for dear life.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me today. I had a blast, and I hope you did too.
Yeah, man, sure did. That was good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. For the listeners, you can like and subscribe on YouTube, listen to BonkTable on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts, it's all out there. You can, what the heck else? Oh, yeah. Join the BonkTable Discord in the description below. Reese is there, mostly because he's cool, and we decided that out of all the Parabellum people, he was the coolest, so he got to join. So if you want to DM there, you can do that too. Or, on the international Discord, because fuck it, he's on that one too for some reason.
Yeah, just ping me if you want to talk to me. I'm usually floating around somewhere.
Yeah, he's pretty chill to talk to. Sometimes I send him inappropriate memes and he chuckles. Yeah, so
I have an odd sense of humor, and a lot of the time it's at a weird moment where I just get a bizarre meme across my screen. So yeah, that's it's worth it.
Also, BonkCon is happening in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, June 6th and 7th. Link in the description for the sign up for there. If we do hit the 32 slots, I think we're at 26 right now.
Nice.
Last time I checked. I have the option to open up for more. We have plenty of space in the venue, so hopefully you'll do that. Payment will probably happen beginning of April into March-ish, kind of in that area. This is just to drum up enthusiasm. Come down to, where I live, so I don't have to travel to an event. Please, thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, with that, we're going to close this one out. I think this was a blast, and Reese, I will probably take you up on your offer for that TTS game. We can hash out the details after this, and sure. We'll put that live, hopefully if TTS wants to cooperate and we don't hate ourselves after trying to rip our fingers off to play that on TTS.
Sure.
Yeah, there are times. So, thank you everybody. Bye!
See y'all.